Risking Good evening and welcome to TIO Stadium for round 10 of the TIO NTFL season, with Southern Districts up against Nightcliff in the commentary box this evening. Myself, Matt Hepworth, Andrew Hodges and Rob Cross. The top of the table clash, gentlemen. Hodge, we might start with you first. Some pretty impressive talent on both lists today, including some AFL talent.
Yeah, we've been pretty blessed this year. We've had a lot of AFL talent running around tonight. Obviously, Southern District's got a few guys out there. Biggest one would be Jeff Garlett. Played a lot of games for Melbourne and the Carlton Football Club. Pretty exciting. And on the flip side, Nightcliff, Blake Greer, who was at the Brisbane Lions a couple of years ago. So we've been pretty blessed, and we've seen some AFL talent running around all day.
Rob, as a Blues man, you'd be pretty happy to see Jeff Garlett out there tonight.
Absolutely, and Hodgie, another Blues man as well. So yeah, we're looking forward to
surrounded by them tonight.
Yeah, well, you can be an honorary Carlton supporter. We take on all types. But I'm also looking to see how he teams with Davin Hall. We saw him last week wearing the number 1 jumper. He's in number 3 tonight, but a very small forward who's very exciting as well. So it could be a dangerous forward line for Nightcliff to combat.
Of course, both these teams, which I mentioned, top of the table clash. Nightcliff just the one loss up against St Mary's. They did have a little bit of a scare up against the Tiwi Bombers last week. In fact, the Tiwi Bombers are up by as much as 18 points at half-time. Scores levelled back at three-quarter of the time, and then Nightcliff just managing to hold on with a win there in the end. Of course, Southern Districts also had a pretty reasonable win up against Wanderers last week as well. So you would consider these two teams probably the informed teams of the competition at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. Both sides. Looking at them line up now in the middle of the ground, we've got a lot of talent there. Cameron Eilert, Wills, and who also Wilson in there as well for Nightcliff, which is pretty impressive. And Ferrar, Barlow, and I think it's Bo Swartz in there with big Seb Gilhouse in the ruck. So a lot of talent in the middle of the ground.
Looks like Schwartz could be tagging on it, perhaps, Hodgie?
Potentially, looks like it'd be a hard day for young Bo Swartz.
Seb Gilhouse taps beautifully down into the path of Josiah Farah. He was well tackled though. The ball stripped away, socket off the ground. Michael Joshua, who's very impressive last week for Southern District, has crunched in a tackle. He faked the handball, wins a free kick for a push in the back. And so a chance for Joshua to clear from right half back. Seb Gilhouse, Married at First Sight. You know a bit about that show, Matty?
I cannot confirm or deny those rumours, but what we can confirm is Seb Gilhouse will be on next year's season of Married at First Sight.
Big Seb Gilhouse, wearing number 19 for the red, white and black of Southern Districts. As the kick comes across half back and it's chopped down there. Nightcliff send it with a wobbly looking kick. Might have been smothered off the boot. Blake Greer comes through. Richmond, a VFL player, played in last year's grand final for Nightcliff. Sean Wilson got the handball away. Tackle there by Kidney. Wilson goes again. Charged down cleverly there by Jeff Garlett, the former Blue. Comes to McAdam, comes to Ogden, gets it off to Garlett. His first kick in a Crocs jumper, and it's a scrubby kick in towards half forward. The numbers, though, favour the Crocs. Comes to McLaughlin, his kick over the top towards centre half forward. 2-on-1 contest here, and it comes away in the hands of Eilert, and he kicks back into the centre. Mark almost dropped. It was dropped, in fact, in the end. Schofield was the player. Pemberton slides by, got the footy now, about to be tackled. They're relentless, Nightcliff. The ball was thrown away, and the free kick to Liam Holt Fitz.
Great pressure there from Nightcliff, Rob. Their intentions very early on, making sure that Districts don't have any time and space with the footy.
Holt Fitz's short kick is good to Sean Wilson. Has a couple of goes at it. Holt Fitz slid by down the right-hand side. He's going to kick now into the hot spot. Whistle's gone. It's a 50-metre penalty. Looks like Will Farrar's encroached over the mark. So a big opportunity here for Nightcliff to get the first goal on the board. And they seem the most intense of the two sides in the opening 2 minutes.
Yeah, disappointing for Southern Districts there. They sort of had the game slowed down. They had plenty of numbers behind it. Now Nightcliff obviously get a free shot on goal.
The former Buffalo and now Tiger, Sean Wilson, bangs it through for the first of the night. Nightcliff lead by a goal.
Scrappy start of the game, boys. Obviously both sides, pressure's right up and obviously not too clean. Obviously the yellow ball probably quite hot here in Darwin, so a bit slippery and haven't really hit their target. So probably a bit of an anticlimax to the start of this game, but plenty of pressure, which has been impressive. We saw Philip Wills chase down early on in the game. He looks like he's got a bit of zip back in his legs, Rob, which is great to see. He's a great player, former Nichols medalist, and good to see him back in form.
It's a little bit surprising because last time these two teams met, this is the second time they've met this season of being a grand final replay. I thought round one, the skill and execution of these two teams was fantastic, so a bit the opposite tonight.
Miles and Gilhouse. Gilhouse won the tap. Josiah Ferrar goes through. Handball slips off the palm, comes to McAdam, gives it to Josiah Ferrar. Taken down behind play, get the advantage, and Ferrar kicks up and towards the full forward area. Williams comes out on a strong lead and takes a good mark. Very versatile player. He's played in defence, up forward, can go into the ruck as well. The former buff, one-time giant. Huge ability, Damien Williams. Missed a lot of footy, Hodgie, but on his day, as good as anyone.
Unbelievable talent, Damien Williams. Very, very talented. Very important pickup for Southern Districts.
A chance to show this talent from a tough angle, a few metres in from the boundary line at left half forward. Crosses 50 now from 48 metres. Wonderful kick. He's done exactly what you want to do from that spot. That's set it to the left-hand goal post. And for some reason, it's not particularly breezy night, but it always seems to swing left to right from that pocket scores level, Hodgie.
If we rewind back to that centre clearance, Seb Gilhouse at the first bounce, then the second contest in the middle of the ground, he's got first hands on it, straight down Josiah Farrar's throat, and they've cleared the ball. First contact, we see it right here, perfect tap down. That's obviously a planned move. They just put it in that space. Josiah straight onto it. Not too good of a handball there, but McAdam nicely cleaned up. And this was a fantastic kick by Josiah Ferrar, and really good lead by Damien Williams. Like you said, Rob, he's an amazing talent, this guy. When he gets himself fit back into the year, he's going to be very, very important for Southern Districts.
You can see on the end of that replay there, he was not quite sure at the start there. He doubted himself, did look around, see if there was any other options. But once he decided to go for it, he backed himself. A beautiful goal.
Back in the middle, Gilhouse up against Miles. Gilhouse won the tap again, looking for Schwartz this time. There's holding going on. It's going John O'Miles' way. No, it's going to Sean Wilson. So he's been busy early for Nightcliff. Called to play on. Garlett came in from the side to effect the smother. Kick was effective. Opportunity here for Nightcliff through Zach Brain. The low kick is excellent. Unfortunately, the mark was dropped by Liam Holt Fitz, but it was a wonderful pass by Brain.
He's been very impressive early on. He took a good mark early on in the game, out on the far side of the ground, and then again, you saw his attack on the football there, sort of left his opponents for dead. So he's a very, very good player, Zach Brain.
Gilhouse got rid of Winter Irving. Contest, Brewer comes up with it. Was able to get the handball out to Winter Irving at centre half forward. Handball smothered. Eilert, good strong tackling there by Schwartz. And it's tied up at centre half forward, about 45 metres out from the Nightcliff goal.
We saw that tackle then, Schwartz on Eilert. We mentioned at the start of the game, Rob, that he potentially is tagging Cameron, but they keep going their separate ways, but somehow they do come back together in the contest.
The brute strength of Gilhouse down to Ogden. Here's Scrappy kick out towards the scoreboard on the outer side. The chase is on. Davin Hall, the racehorse. Well done by Bowles, who did well to knock him off the footy, the bigger man, and get the handball over the top to Wills. Wills' kick in towards full forward is pretty good. Chopped off by Gilhouse. One hand, two. Couldn't complete the mark, but did enough to stop the ball falling into the hands there of the big forward charging out in John Butcher for Nightcliff. Interesting
character is Seb Gilhouse. Obviously played for Nightcliff previously. I'm really looking forward to Maths if he's on it, because he is a very, very funny guy. So I'm looking forward to that.
Well, you watched all of last year.
Of course I did miss an episode, Matty. Jeez.
Left forward pocket. Gilhouse against Winter Irving. Ogden goes in there, number 10 for the Crocs. Brewer tries to rip it away. Ball stays at the bottom of the pack for another ball up.
Interesting around these stoppages. Obviously, Eilert, Will's been around all the stoppages so far.
Here goes Rory O'Brien now. By hand, got the kick away to Bowden. High kick out towards the wing. Good defender's kick to the safety of the boundary line. A rugby kick for touch, and it comes off for a boundary throw-in.
Yeah, lucky there, because Nightcliff had set up really well behind the footy. I think they had 2 or 3 spares where Southern Districts outnumbered them at the contest. So obviously differing game plans there, where Nightcliff just getting plenty of numbers behind the footy in that situation.
The two big men come at it again. Real intensity. First couple of minutes pretty aggressive with some strong tackling. Scrappy, as Hodgie pointed out, but as O'Brien comes away with it, he has a kick smothered. Just enough jumper tug there and a holding the ball decision. So O'Brien's been busy in the last 30 seconds. He comes up with a footy and pokes a little pass further down the line. He's got Isaac Wyatt, who sends it inside attacking 50. Out comes Williams again. Couldn't get to the contest. And Jonathan Paris finds Melville a long way up the ground from his normal spot inside attacking 50. And he pokes it back to Paris, who'd led further down the ground in front of Keenan Dingo. A goal apiece here TIO Stadium, round 10 of the TIO 2019-20 season. Last year's grand finalist going at it again. Bowden's being held off the footy. No, he might have been holding his opponent then, and so Michael Hagan. In fact, Cam Eilert comes up with the kick, quickly gets it off, but straight down the throat of Rory O'Brien at centre half back. Another possession. And he gets it off there to Holman, breaking from full back. He kicks in the Jeff Garlett direction, the former Blue and Demon. What sort of tricks has he got? He's had one kick on the right boot, which is pretty poor. He tries a sneaky one around the corner. Arnold dropped the mark. Coming through is McLaughlin. He gets a big bump and sandwiched in the end. Coming up with a footy there, and a handball was Jaden Kickett, I should say, for Nightcliff. They have lots of numbers around the footy. Arnold had a couple of goes at it. Finally got a handball that was effective. And from half-back, Nightcliff can kick up towards half-forward, but a turnover. Gilhouse stands in the way. And back to O'Brien. Delays the handball. Gets it off. And it's thumped long towards centre half-forward. And brilliantly done. Out on the lead comes Will Ferrar. He wants to play on quickly. Over the top to McAdam. Running to the top of the goal square. Well played by Nightcliff to get back just to put some pressure on. But it should be a gimme goal 10 metres out directly in front.
You mentioned it earlier, Rob, where both sides are having plenty of numbers behind the footy. That's the way to beat it. Just run and carry through the midfield. Link up by hands. Get the ball in really quickly into your forward line. Creating that one-on-one, which Districts did there really, really well. You know, turnover both sides, but, you know, here we go. Districts having a shot on goal.
For the lead. And he's missed.
Boy, oh boy.
Directly in front from 15 out. Poked the kick. They still lead, but by a point, not 6, as they should have.
That hurts because both sides are setting up fairly defensively. They're not going to get too many opportunities, so you've got to make the most of every one you get.
Almost 10 minutes played first quarter. Districts lead 1-1. Nightcliff one straight. Arnold offers a lead and marks inside defensive 50 and flares it out wider towards the boundary line. Steady approach here. Bowles. That's a long kick looking for Winter Irving, and it might be out of bounds on the full. Dingo's signalling that way. The umpire comes in. I think it's going to be a boundary throw in. Centre wing out of side near the scoreboard here. TIO Stadium, been a really hot day in Darwin. Just cooling now as night falls, and the flag's fluttering away to the right of the scoreboard, showing it's not really favouring either end too much. Marley McGregor up in ruck, smaller statured player than Seb Gilhouse. Comes out to Zach Brain to Brewer, and they're away again. Nightcliff up towards centre half forward. Well played by Melville, got rid of his opponent, then couldn't complete the mark, and in the end has given away the free kick for an over the shoulder. So Southern Districts through Duffy. Marks, plays on quickly, and he's turning it over with Arnold dropping back courageously. Couldn't complete the mark. The pressure came from behind from McAdam, who now wants to holding the ball. Arnold had 2 goes at it, but dropped it, and so we'll have a ball up.
You can see what Duffy's trying to do there. Is obviously the instructions come down from coach Shannon Rusker. Move the ball as quick as you possibly can.
Stronger body of Gilhouse, won the tap to O'Brien. Back to Gilhouse, through his legs. Marley McGregor might have given away a free kick. He didn't. Played it well. Well done by Davin Hall. Slapped it away from Arnold. Further down the line. Came to Isaac Wyatt, who's been busy. And his kick, his pinpoint, comes to Josiah Farah. He steps around Zach Brain. He has a bounce. Runs to 45. A high kick on goal as it got the carry. Shepherd in the squares. A brilliant goal by Josiah Farah. He's had a wonderful season. And he extends the margin for the Crocs to 7 points, 2-1 to 1 straight.
You'd have to think he's one of the early leaders for the Nichols medal. He's been, like you said, Rob, he's been fantastic all year. And that's just that little bit of speed here, a bit of a step inside. He is an absolute talent. I'm pretty sure younger brother, Jai, picked up by Gold Coast Suns in the recent draft. So much talent in that family with Will, Josiah, and obviously... younger brother's playing his first game today as well, and just trying to pick his name up here, Brett Johnson, who's been down to school in Melbourne, so he's lining up on the wing this side of the ground. It's really been interesting, Rob, with Jeff Garlett getting caught pretty high up the ground. We haven't really seen him too close to goal, but he's getting matched up by Joel Butterick.
Gilhouse wins the tap. Arnold's been busy, throws it on the right boot, whistle's gone, and I think it might be coming back. It's going to be a free kick to Cam Eilert.
Playing Mark Noonan.
Umpiring his 260th game, Hodgie, equaling the record for Premier League. High kick, bump just as he got the kick away. Kyle Irving came out to put some pressure on Gilhouse and then infringed with an arm over the shoulder of Keenan Dingo. Tough Crocs half back. Spears it down the throat of Bo Schwartz, who's off and running. Sends it out wide in the O'Brien direction. Doesn't quite get to him. He's got a teammate. They were about to be run down. Just got the kick away. That was Schofield. Comes up towards half forward. Clever nudge there by Riley. Oh, dangerous handball. Still going on at ground level. I think it might have been Paris. Some neat stepping. In trouble. Marley McGregor met by Isaac Wyatt, who lays a strong tackle. Somehow it's squeezed out. Comes to Phil Wills, out to Grew, and they've got rid of it well, Nightcliff. Across half back. Open forward line. In towards the forward pocket. Lumbering after it is Jonathan Miles. He's taken to ground by Holman. In fact, it was John Butcher who was taken to ground by Holman. And it goes out of bounds. Smart
body work there by Holman. Just knew the right time to hit his opponent, get him off the path of the footy, and then get a boundary throw in the back line here for the Southern Districts. And Nightcliff probably an opportunity to score here. Some talent around the footy.
So it'll be Winter Irving, big forward line, Nightcliff. Butcher, Winter Irving, Melville. McLaughlin comes through, leaves it behind. Winter Irving to Wills on the left boot, pokes the kick in the Butcher direction again from behind Dingo. Holman comes up with it, out to O'Brien for the Crocs. His kick is out of bounds, but escapes the 50-metre arc.
Southern District's defensive effort has been really good because Robbie just touched on that superstar forward that Nightcliff have, and yet they've only got one goal on the board so far.
Good pressure further up the ground. Haven't delivered as cleanly as the big Nightcliff forwards would like. So it's just outside attacking 50. Left half forward for Nightcliff. Kicking to the airport end. Owen Skender won the tap. Going through strongly there was McGregor. Out to Schwartz. Taken down in a tackle. Back to Riley Owen Skender. Couldn't control the ball. It goes out of bounds.
Rory O'Brien being very impressive early, guys. Plenty of the footy. Using it quite well. He's been under a lot of pressure too with a lot of these disposals. Obviously playing through the midfield. Star-studded Nightcliff midfield with Eilert, Brewer, Wills and the likes running through there. So big job for the Southern District's midfielders tonight.
Well, Schwartz there is playing up against Hagan, and he's won a free kick off the ball.
Two very talented players, Rob, both of those guys.
Schwartz is kicking. Here's our man O'Brien, who drops the chest mark. Maybe it is pretty slippery out there, Hodgie, because I've seen a few balls go to ground, or the pressure. McLaughlin laid a strong tackle. Riley comes up with it, though. He's got a bit of time. Thumps it long up towards half forward. Running back of the flight well is Wills. Marks and evades the clutches of Ed Barlow, the former Swan and Bulldog. Wills 52 metres out. The reigning champ for the best and fairest, Nichols medalist from last season. Former Buffalo player. And has made his way to Nightcliff and won a premiership, and a free kick to Michael Hagan, also a former Buffalo. There's three in the lineup, isn't there? Sean Wilson, Hagan and Phil Wills.
Upset about that, Rob?
A little bit.
It's recruited very well, have Nightcliff. I spoke earlier about Si Farah being one of the leaders for the Nichols medal early on in the season, but Kane Riley's been outstanding. Probably the last couple of contests into District's forward line has been the catalyst for them.
Michael Hagan to bring the margin back to a point from the left forward pocket. Kicks it across the face. Oh, was there a mark on the line? Good body work. Quick handball. Oh, it's going to be the snap from Holt Fitz. Is across the face and goes into the left forward pocket. Running back with the flight there was Ed Barlow. Had the ball spoiled away. But the two big men there in Butcher and Winter Irving combining to muck it up. And after what seemed like a certain goal opportunity, it's no score.
Handball probably should have gone to Holt Fitz to start with. He probably would have finished it if he had a bit more time and space.
On the best in ground in last year's grand final, Liam Holt Fitz. Wonderfully talented player. Hacked out there by Schwartz, had the kick smothered. Holman wanted the boundary line. Will the umpire see it that way? No, boundary throw in.
Just so much traffic around the ball that both teams really struggling to get some air at the moment. And come back to what I was saying about the last time these two teams met. Their passage of play was really clear. And tonight is the opposite. And I think you touched on it, Hodgie, that both teams are playing a real defensive game.
Kyle Winter Irving. Nice tap down, got front position, only as far as Bowden. Throws on the right boot, clears defensive 50. Riley pokes a neat little kick towards Hagan, and he marks strongly in front of Isaac Wyatt. And so an opportunity now for Nightcliff's second goal. Doesn't waste any time, thumps it long and gets that second goal. Well played by Hagan. The margin is a point. 17.5 minutes gone first quarter. Districts 2-1, Nightcliff 2 straight.
Hagan finished really well there, obviously on the end of some really good work from his teammates. On that last stoppage here, right here, the pressure from the Nightcliff forwards and midfielders really good. Bowden just hacked it out. Kane Riley was one of the two players behind the footy set up by themselves. Him and Marley McGregor and Kane Riley just, really smart and hit Michael Hagan, very super talented player, NTFL premiership player as well, Michael Hagan.
Was quite a smart move to go out rather than come across the other side, because there was just, you saw the amount of players that were in that inside 50 there. There's just so much traffic just clogging up that ball movement. So to come backwards and then find, I think it was Hagan, was a really great move.
And they go forward again, inside attacking 50. Butcher smothered the ball, trapped it cleverly. Here's Holt Fitz on the left. 2 goals in 10 seconds? No, just away to the right. Hooked it too far. Scores level, 2-1 apiece, 18.5 minutes gone first quarter.
Interesting to note, no Seb Gilhouse in the middle. They really struggle to get clearances, Southern District, so they need him back in there as soon as possible.
Each of those 3 big forwards in Winter Irving, Butcher and Melville, all significant height advantage against their direct opponents, which could be telling later in this match. Phil Wills out to Hagan again, steps around, and low pass is brilliant. Winter Irving did everything he could to drop the mark, but he's got it at the second attempt, and he will kick over the head of Keenan Dingo, potentially for the Nightcliff's 3rd goal. They're getting busy.
Dangerous couple of minutes here for Southern District. Nightcliff have got busy, exactly, Rob. Their intensity's gone up tenfold, and District's probably has dropped off a little bit, so that's been the difference in the last couple of minutes. It's just the effort around the contest. Nightcliff getting plenty of numbers to it and winning the clearances and creating opportunities for themselves. It's not a difficult game.
Played for Pints in Div 1 last year, but he's made the step up pretty easily. Kicks on goal, keeps it low, kicks it out on the foot. Made the distance. Sounds like a stab pass in the end.
Just unfortunately, that intensity not paying off for Nightcliff. Had a few missed opportunities now.
Barlow's been quiet. That's not helped. Swooped on. Another opportunity here for Hagan, and bangs it through and makes it hurt. Croc's error, and Hagan has mopped up, gets his 2nd, and Nightcliff hit the lead at the 20-minute mark of the first quarter. The pressure is telling, and the big stars of Southern Districts are not being well served by some of their teammates.
It's interesting to note, you mentioned there, Rob, with the tall timbered Nightcliff have got the star-studded forward line, but the little guys are doing all the damage here at the moment. Hagan, Holt Fitz, and even Bricknell have been very, very busy in that forward line. If they're not kicking the goals, they're putting pressure on and creating opportunities for their teammates. So some really good pressure there. I think it was Arnold who put that pressure on the Southern District player, which opened it up for Hagan to kick that goal.
And then on the other side, talk about those small forwards. Jeff Garlett, still, I think he's only had about 1 or 2 touches of the ball. The former AFL player making his NTFL debut. Hasn't done much so far because the ball can't get down their way.
He's in the middle now.
Miles to Gilhouse. Lovely handball, finds O'Brien. Crocs go forward. Out comes Ferrar. Gets pushed under the footy. Does he win a free kick? He does. Tunnelled there by his opponent. And that was Joel Butterick, I think. Just got into the back of Ferrar. Or was it Peris? One of those players. And so Ferrar will line up to bring the margin back to a point. But amazing, isn't it? Gilhouse goes back into the middle. They go forward, straight inside, attacking 50, and a goal-scoring opportunity.
His partner in crime, Rory O'Brien, first one on the spot there to get that clearance as well.
30 metres out. Just off centre, kicks on goal, and he gets the goal. Margin back to a point. Much-needed goal for the Crocs. Districts, I should say, Nightcliff have had the better of the last 8 to 9 minutes or so. It's 3-1 apiece. I thought Nightcliff had gone to 3-2. Scores level, 3-1, 19 apiece.
It's interesting because, yeah, Nightcliff have had the last 5 minutes has been all in their favour, and they, like you said, Matty, they haven't capitalised on it.
Yeah.
They have kicked some really good goals, but they probably should have kicked maybe 1 or 2 more. Southern District, like you said, Seb goes straight back into the middle, Rob, and they get the clearance straight away. They've got a lot of talent in the middle there now. Districts, Barlow, Garlett, and Josiah Farrell with Seb in the ruck, and on the flip side, we've got Arnold, Eilert, and Wilson in the middle, so this should be a really good contest.
Sean Wilson introduced Jeff Garlett to the middle with a little backhander across his chest. Cleared a path perhaps to the other side of the circle, and Josiah Farrar sends it up towards half forward. Climbing over the top there of Schwartz and spoiling away brilliantly. Nightcliff defender. Joshua came in to remonstrate a little bit. Nightcliff defender, I think there was Lee Masters, was it?
Butterick, I think it was, number 12, was it? Joel Butterick.
No, Joel Butterick.
2 talented players, Schwartz and Butterick.
So throw in. Gilhouse got rid of Miles, but Nightcliff will go forward again up towards the wing. Holt Fitz at the back of the pack. Bricknell soccers it, gains 35 metres. Holman in front of Butcher. Slaps it in front of himself and then goes again. Goes another 30-odd metres back into the middle. But a good strong mark taken there. And a chance to set up play once more. Here's Masters. Played a lot of VFL footy, played in the losing VFL grand final. His kick was horrible though, straight down the throat of Schwartz. It was tried, the target was Bowles. Schwartz kicks it out towards the forward pocket. Ferrar comes out, Riley's there, and Riley's brilliantly taken down by Will Ferrar. Ball is out of bounds, no free kick, got a fair handball away. But that's well played by the Crocs captain to keep it inside attacking 50.
You know a side's going well when their forwards running and chasing and putting pressure on like that. That's exactly what Southern Districts need. They're going to be a challenge this year. They need the captain doing exactly that, putting pressure on good players like Kane Riley. That's fantastic run down from behind. He was outnumbered there as well.
Good result. Keep it in attacking 50. Whistle's gone.
A little bit of off the ball there, Rob, just on the corner of the screen, I think.
And it's going to Zach Brain, so an opportunity goes begging a bit for the Crocs with Bowles' kick in the Winter Irving direction. Got a fair bit of it, but couldn't quite bring it down to ground, and so there'll be a boundary throw-in spilled off hands.
Probably unfortunate with that free kick there, Southern Districts. There probably wasn't too much in it, but you know, the free kick's given, and now we've got an almost centre wing here for the Nightcliff Tigers.
Almost quarter time. 3-2 plays 3-1. Entertaining game. Scrappy at times, but also seen some brilliant footy as well. Nightcliff lead by a point. Gilhouse takes it out of the ruck. The Married at First Sight star kicks it up towards right half forward, and it just dribbles out of bounds.
Interesting throw in there. Tebet Gilhouse, obviously the short throw and was onto it pretty quickly.
And there it is, the quarter time siren goes. 24 and a half minutes elapsed. It's Districts 3-1-19, trailing Nightcliff by a point, 3-2-20.
So here's everything you need to know about the Great Air Race in 30 seconds or less. 100 years ago, there was a race from London to Darwin by aeroplane. And mates, this was only 20 years after the first aeroplane flew just 37 metres. The winning plane, a Vickers Vimy, was flown by Australian brothers Ross and Keith Smith and their mechanics Wally Shires and Jim Bennett. This was the birth of international air travel, and they landed in Parap. There's a park there now. Some people reckon their flight was almost as significant as the Apollo missions 50 years later. Some of the places they landed had never even seen an aeroplane before. This year, a guy called Michael Smith, who isn't related to the other Smiths, is retracing the exact flight 100 years on. The Great Air Race. What a great territory story. Yeah, I know, it was longer than 30 seconds. There's just too much to fit in.
We're here for when the heavens open and the winds howl. We're here for when the water just won't stop. We're here for the wet, and we're here for the dry. We're here because we know there's nowhere else you'd rather be.
And there's nowhere else we'd rather be either. TIO Home Insurance. We're for Territorians.
So we can feel forever, yeah, feel together, real together. No one can stop. No one can stop. Nothing could ever bring me
Mother Nature can be frighteningly predictable in the Territory this time of year. Heavy rains and damaging winds can cause significant problems and disruption, particularly if you're unprepared, while downed power lines and flash flooding can be lethal. To ensure you're ready, visit powerwater.com.au/safety or text SAFETY to 0428 323 991 for more information. Because staying safe and ready around Mother Nature should be second nature.
CFS Schoolwear is the perfect choice for quality custom-made school uniforms. Ideal clothing for all school-related activities, whether it's 50 or 500 students, we have what you need. Contact the Cricket and Football Shop NT for your free CFS Schoolwear quote today.
Let's see. Roma, Verona?
Perhaps Barcelona.
Make your dream holiday a reality. Book your next getaway at Flight Centre with interest-free holidays and flexible repayment options.
Best in the air.
And everywhere.
Flight Centre.
Intersport, new concept store now open in Casuarina Square. Come in and check out a world-class shopping experience. Dedicated sports zones. Now stocking only the biggest brands in tennis, cricket, fitness from treadmills to benches, boxing, swimming, darts, pool and table tennis. For awesome service and advice, still locally owned and operated, the all-new Intersport concept store. Now open at Casuarina Square.
You are one of almost 140,000 people living in an area at risk of being affected by a cyclone this wet season. In your cyclone kit, you will need a battery-operated radio and torch with spare batteries, enough food and at least 10 litres of water per person to sustain you and your family for 72 hours or more. Remember, all important documentation such as passports, photos and insurance policies should be kept in a safe and waterproof place. Be prepared this wet season. Brought to you by TIO.
Quarter time here at TIO Stadium, Southern Districts 3-1-19, just trailing behind the Nightcliff Tigers 3-2-20. Matt Hepworth, Andrew Hodges and Rob Cross here on a very balmy evening. Tell you what, gentlemen, scorcher of a day. Of course, some of those earlier games today, imagine being out in that heat at 2 o'clock this afternoon.
Yeah, it would have been terrible. I came and watched my young fella play at 10:30 this morning. My forehead is that burn. I was sitting in the shade. It was that hot, and it's this nice, hot, steamy night tonight. But just looking at Southern Districts there, Coach Shannon Rusker, very calm and composed. Even though they didn't probably have too much of the momentum that quarter, they just sort of kept themselves in it. Obviously, we see scores of level at the moment, Rob, but very smart coaches, Shannon Rusker. He'd just be telling his team just to stay patient, keep continuing to put the pressure on. Opportunities will come forward if they get it there, but they've somehow got to negate this Nightcliff's numbers behind the footy when it's in the Nightcliff forward line. But no doubt, Shannon Rusker and his coaching team will have something up their sleeve for that.
There was a period of play mid-quarter where it looked like Nightcliff could kick right away, but District did well to hold them, and in the end got back to level the scores or get back to within a point at least at quarter time.
Interesting to see at this first centre bounce there. Probably their informed player in the ball magnet in the first quarter, Rory O'Brien's going forward, and Swartz will go to Eilert in the midfield. Or is he between Eilert and Wills?
Yeah, he's a bit closer to Eilert, but it's not like he's niggling him, is he? So now he goes to Wills.
Phil Wills has had a haircut. Lost those lovely luscious locks he had.
Yeah, I couldn't recognise him at the start of the game.
Hey.
So they're lining up as they did at the start of the game. Same four against the two lineups. Grand finalists from last season, and if any indication, his first quarter is set for another high-quality game as Eilert's beautiful kick in and one of the first one-grab marks of the night, and it's that man Michael Hagan again, who we thought about playing on. He's the only multiple goal scorer for the game so far with 2. But sticky fingers, that ball was coming at pace and slightly to the side as well.
Bowden just gave him that half a step too far. I don't know if he was asleep or he was just really slow to react, and Hagan just in the right spot at the right time.
From directly in front, from about 45 metres out for his third goal. He's kicked it pretty well. It's just drifting away late, though, to the right-hand side. And for a behind only, so it's a 1-point lead to the Tigers. 3-2 plays 3-1.
National Academy member was Michael Hagan growing up under 16s and 18s. So a very, very talented player in the Nightcliff lineup.
Out to Barlow. He's had a pretty quiet start to the match. To play on quickly. Into the centre corridor it comes. Pemberton mops up. Back to Barlow. Looking to make amends for that risky bit of play. And he finds Garlett. 185 AFL games for 321 games. He's had 3 kicks tonight. He's turned over every one of them. Played for Carlton and Melbourne. There'll be another turnover here back the other way. John O'Miles. Garlett trying to make amends. Couldn't gather the footy, and it goes out of bounds.
To give him the benefit of the doubt, I reckon, obviously, territory footy, a little bit different to what he's used to. Obviously, a bit slippery conditions out there. I'm just trying to make some excuses up for the ex-Carlton.
I'll call him a Melbourne player when he...
Okay, yes, when he turns it over, he's from the D's. Let's go with that.
Miles and Gilhouse. Gilhouse was off for a portion of the first quarter. That's when Nightcliff looked at their most dangerous. Got to rest him. He's a big man. Needs a bit of a break. As the quick kick there came from Jaden Kickett. Back inside attacking 50 for Nightcliff. Pushing it along in front there was Schofield. Close to the boundary line. Well played. Holt Fitz is dangerous here. Handball into the vacant goal square, and Brewer bangs it through. Easy as you like for the Tigers. They couldn't force it out, the Crocs. It was close to the boundary line. It was forced back inside, and Brewer gets his first goal of the night, and it's a 7-point margin to the Tigers.
Well, it would have been pretty close to going over the boundary line there. I was about to say Schofield's done an outstanding job here to get it out of bounds and get a stoppage, but just the persistence here by Melville to keep that ball in play. He knew he had teammates. Yeah, that's in. I'd give that in. But on the umpire in the right spot, but Holt Fitz could have had a shot at that, but really good teamwork. Put give it a Brewer in the goal square and finish it.
Pretty good camera work there by Kick Productions. There's a fair bit of jumper pull going on there as well, and maybe Schofield was a bit unlucky. Melville had a big handful of it, but in the end did brilliantly to feed it out to Holt Fitz, who got it to Brewer for the goal. Back into the middle. Miles up against Gilhouse, who won the tap once more. Overrunning at Josiah Ferrar. Tried to find Barlow. Socket off the ground by Eilert to Holt Fitz one way then the other. Underground handball. Missed the target, but Masters comes through with it. Former Williamstown player kicks up towards centre half forward. Spoiled away into the path of Arnold though for the Tigers. His kick is into the hot spot. Gilhouse dropped back with the flight of the ball. Couldn't complete the mark. Comes to Ogden. Ogden of the Crocs. Hagan just stood off him for a while and gave him a moment's space to Joshua. Watch out, Schwartz. They're coming at him hard. Well done by Joshua. Tapped it onto his teammate in Bowden, who's taken in a very strong tackle by Coco Nicky. Nightcliff might be a chance here through Eilert. Shrugs one tackle, shrugs two, gives to Arnold. Arnold, what can he do? Kicks in towards the forward pocket, wants his teammate Dingo. Well done. Good contest against Melville. Close to the boundary line. Holt Fitz has got another chance. Sneaky little handball. Finds Butcher into the danger zone again. Winter Irving. Holt Fitz runs onto the footy. Tried the one-handed pickup. Didn't come up to him. And now he's crunched in a strong tackle by Bowden. Brewer looking for Wills. Crocs everywhere. Comes there to Schwartz. Gives it back to Ogden. And the Crocs can clear. Has a bounce. He wants someone at half forward. He has to go back inboard. Looking there for McAdam. Coming the other way, though, was a Tigers player. And now the Tigers are relentless through Masters. He's gone to ground with a hold, and he'll win a free kick inside the centre square.
Outstanding call, Rob Cross. That was out. The game has definitely lifted in the last last minute or two. It's been very impressive. The pressure from both sides and the call from Rob Cross. Outstanding, Matty Hepworth.
Oh, spectacular, isn't it?
Masters 70 out, you're too kind. Kicks it inside and finds his teammate there in Jaden Kickett. Still 60 out from goal though at left half forward. Called to play on, thumps it long, wants one of the tall timber. Butcher comes in from the side, one grab, couldn't bring it down. A free kick. Someone's infringed in that pack. Might have been a Shepherd out. And so it's going to be a kick to Gilhouse. So they're worried about the big frame of the married at first sight ruckman for the Crocs.
He's been outstanding getting behind the footy this quarter, hasn't he, guys? He's taken a couple of intercept marks.
He's got Isaac Wyatt in front of Winter Irving. Looking back inboard. Scare any coach. Looks for Duffy. Davin Hall's been quiet this week. He was tremendous last week. Barely sighted tonight. Out comes Dingo. Wide overruns the footy. Jaden Pickett taken down. Did he have the ball? Ogden just had a little look up because Wilson was coming hard. High kick from Marley McGregor back inside attacking 50. Oh, overrunning the footy, misjudging it this time was Gilhouse. One way then the other, Hagan. He's got the snap on now. He curls it around. Not enough. Through from behind. He's got 2-2 for the night, Michael Hagan. Margin is 7 points, but it's a thrilling game. 3-1 to 4-2. Nightcliff lead.
Outstanding pressure, Nightcliff Footy Club in that passage of play. Obviously keeping the footy in their forward half of the ground. It's one of those nights. Both sides are trying to use the ball short. Maybe they just need to kick long. The ball's a bit slippery. Get it long down the line, get a contest, and just keep bashing it forward.
They like switching play to the outer side, don't they? But they've got away with it this time because Bowden has made some space. Kicks it long to McAdam. He's got a bit of a break in front of Brewer. Ball set up nicely. Calls for a player to come out on the lead. It's Schwartz. Well read, though, by the defence through Masters. Schwartz goes at ground level. He's got Jonathan Paris for company, but cleverly sockets it off the ground in the direction of Ferrar. Coming the other way was Eilert. Now McLaughlin. Now Duffy. Mopped up by Jaden Pickett, who's been busy this quarter. And his kick up towards the wing. Winter Irving, well picked up by the big man. The handball maybe not so good, though might have slipped through the fingertips of Paris. Sliding in there was Holt Fitz, well gathered by Brewer. The Richmond VFL player kicks in towards the forward pocket. Pushed away Butcher there on Holman, but couldn't grab the footy. Gilhouse down there to lend assistance, but a lovely mark by Melville. Wastes no time. Centering ball is excellent. Onto the chest of Hagan, who's everywhere. And he is leading Michael Bowden a merry dance at the moment. And he'll line up for his third goal, 3-2. If he kicks this out of what will be 5-3.
Might have to change this this matchup, boys. I think he's looking pretty dangerous, isn't he? If every time the ball goes forward, he seems to have some sort of impact on play, whether it's getting a shot on goal, putting a bit of pressure on it, getting the ball to a teammate. He's been outstanding.
Just one set shot. He comes in. That looks pretty good. And he stabbed it through for his third. Hagan's having a ripping night, and he comes off to have a little rest on the bench. Does he? No, just a high five his teammate in Brad Arnold. 5-3 plays 3-1. Nightcliff look a little scary again. They lead by 14 points.
Just some outstanding work from their defenders. Obviously, the amount of pressure that Riley and Kickett have been putting on. You see here, Seb Gilhouse, big fella, probably should have just banged it long down the line. But for a minute there, I thought he was playing in defence. He's been back there a couple of times, but that's just the amount of footy that Nightcliff are putting into that forward line. He's had to get back and help out his teammates, but poor turnover there. And Nightcliff, Melville, really well done, and they capitalised on it.
There's been no rain today, but it must definitely be slippery down there. You saw Holt Fitz from Nightcliff before just slip on a pretty simple passage of play, so that may contribute to some of the messy ball work that we're seeing.
Brad Arnold takeaway was good. The stretching mark to Schofield. Across centre half back for the Crocs. He kicks in the McAdam direction. He'll get to him on the bounce. It was a pretty quick bounce off the turf too. Riley was good. Overruns it eventually. Isaac Wyatt. Riley comes in and has another go. Coco Nicky's hurt his right elbow and he's dropped out of the play. Might be his shoulder, in fact. Comes back to Wyatt for the Crocs. Curling kick up in the Farah direction. In fact, it's Damien Williams. Gave to McLaughlin. Missed the soccer off the ground. Comes to Arnold. Comes to Kane Riley. Turnover. Tigers are away again in the Bricknell direction. Comes out from centre four. Wasn't sure about it. Gets away with one there. Comes now to his teammate. Shrugging the tackle was Kidney. Oh, intercepted well by Schofield. To O'Brien. Off to Joshua. Here's the excitement machine. In fact, it's Davin Hall. Hall on the left boot. Kicks long. Tigers have the numbers in defence. Off answer Josiah Farah. Quick snap. Schwartz goal. Well played. And I reckon you can go back to the centre square, defensive side of the centre square. I reckon Bricknell had a little bit of a look there, the fumble, and it's whisked to the other end. Districts get their fourth goal. Hodgie, I'll spit it out eventually.
Another great call there, Rob Cross, as well. This game is getting pretty exciting. Obviously, Kane Riley in front of us, his pressure and ability to stay on his feet, probably that kick inside probably didn't help Bricknell, but you're 100% right. He did look at some traffic coming towards him. He probably needed to take that mark, and, you know, we would have had a different story. Nightcliff have a shot on goal, but obviously great pressure from the Southern Districts players there. O'Brien, Schofield, and then Davin Hall. Nice kick inside 50, and Swartz, who's been a good player for Southern Districts tonight. He's been everywhere through the midfield and up forward.
It's taken a quarter, but this is the Nightcliff that we're used to seeing so far. Round 10 have only dropped one game so far up against St Mary's, and this is the Nightcliff play that we're used to seeing so far.
Zach Brain, clever, stepping through traffic for Nightcliff and kicks it up towards right half forward. Out comes Cam Eilert, having a rest inside attacking 50. The bump was ineffective from Ogden, unless he's got support from Bowden, who brings Eilert down in a strong tackle. And will have a ball up 55 metres out at right half forward for Nightcliff.
Well, under the veteran, he had 2-on-1 out there, and I think the veteran umpire probably looked after him a little bit. He probably didn't have prior opportunity, but well done, Cameron Eilert.
And that's Mark Noonan umpiring his 260th Premier League game, equalling the record. It was Gary Turnbull.
Yep.
Michael Joshua. Sighting last week, pokes over the top to Ogden. Down the corridor again. Got pretty good carry. The chest mark was dropped though. And an opportunity here. Wilson's kick. Holt Fitz always looking dangerous. Handball was just a bit too hot and high. Dingo flips one out looking for Pemberton. Here to lend assistance is Brett Johnson. Brewer does well. Farms it out to Jaden Pickett. Brilliant play, Nightcliff. Bricknell won't drop that one. No one around him, and 40 metres out, if that, 30 out directly in front. Rick Nolan tells us he's the best set shot in the competition. So, Rick, if you're watching, have to work tonight. Cheerio from us, and let's see if you're on the money as usual.
He is an impressive shot for goal, is Matt Bricknell. We're just going back to that contest before. Nightcliff structured so well around the contest, obviously led to Bricknell getting the ball in his chest.
So Bricknell, stuttering approach, kicks on goal. It's one of the ugliest looking attempts, but it's going to sneak through for a goal. Bricknell gets his first and pushes the margin back out to 14 points, 6-3 to 4-1.
Expert commentator Rick Nolan, that was right through the middle, Rob. It probably didn't look too pretty, but it did not deviate
off the foot.
It was straight through the middle. It split it. Rick Nolan 100% spot on. He's a very good kick for goal, Matt Bricknell.
Ricky Nolan's probably not too bad for a kick for goal as well.
You see the structure around this contest here. You see Nightcliff, plenty of numbers on the outside here. Brain, they just, and all the Southern District players in at the ball, in at the contest. They're very, very well coached and structured, Nightcliff, tonight.
Like I said, it felt like it took a quarter to get there, though, but this is exactly what you'd expect of Nightcliff.
Probably owed them a goal, Bricknell. Garlett missed the footy. Hagan, clever little toe poke to Eilert. Runs onto the footy, but had a player coming the other way in Ogden who wanted a high free kick, didn't get it. There's a strong tackle by Wills on Ogden. And now, Owen Skender lets one go at Eilert. And a bit of push and shove. Umpire will come in to calm things down. Don't want to play on pretty quickly. Holt Fitz thrown out of the contest there by Pemberton. Owen Skender crashes into Marley McGregor, who soccers off the ground, back inside attacking 50, only as far as Pemberton. Out towards the wing, clever mark by Davin Hall. Want to see him turn it on, and he does. Steps around Kidney and pokes the kick up towards half forward. Pretty well done there by the defence there of Bowles. In fact, it's Butterick, I should say. Barlow, we've barely sighted him. Jaden Pickett's been good. He's taken down by Duffy. Did he have the footy? Sure did, holding the ball. And so Duffy will win the free kick, but Barlow's been quiet, Hodgie.
He has, yeah. He's obviously, he's had Wills running with him for most of the night, so that's been an interesting contest. I'll try and keep a closer eye on that one.
Giving away a lot of size, Phil Wills, but tenacious as ever. Oh, that must be a throw, surely. Umpire right on the case. Well tackled there by Ferrar. And Josiah Ferrar will line up for goal from 45 metres out. Tight angle. He's about 6 metres in from the boundary line at right half forward, but he's a left footer.
It's an interesting one, this one, Rob. Districts haven't hit their straps yet, but they're just staying in there. They're sticking with Nightcliff. Their pressure, their experienced player, Josiah Farrow, O'Brien. These guys have really, really stood up tonight, as has Seb Gilhouse. So they need those guys to continue to do that.
So Josiah Farrar for his second goal of the night on the left boot. He's not bringing it around. It just made the distance off hands and through for behind. The margin is 13 points, 6-3 to 4-2.
They needed that one desperately. They haven't had too many inside 50s this quarter. It was probably one they really needed to take the most of those opportunities.
Jaden Pickett. Beautiful kick. And advantage paid? No advantage paid. They're away. Zach Brain comes up with a footy. A thumping kick from full back.
That was beautiful, wasn't it?
Barely went about 3 or 4 metres above the ground. If that. Travelled 55. As Bowles, a thumping left boot. It's a beautiful kick to Winter Irving. He's providing a good target across half forward. Oh, well done by McLaughlin, running back of the flight. Then might have laid a high tackle. Play on the call. Up against Brad Arnold in that contest. Kidney wrenches it out of the contest, and he's taken in a tackle by McLaughlin. Dingo there as well. And the most experienced umpire in the competition, Mark Noonan, comes in and says, I'll have it.
Outstanding, Dylan McLaughlin. They were outnumbered there 2 on 4, I think it was, and he kept the ball in the air. He got the stoppage.
Too strong Gilhouse on Marley McGregor. Eilert in the contest. Barlow there as well. Comes to Arnold, who's been very dangerous tonight and playing well for Nightcliff. Back to Eilert, taken down in a tackle by Schwartz. Comes to Kidney, comes to Barlow now of the Crocs. He sends it back to Isaac White. Front spot, misread it. Through his fingertips, was socket off the ground by Josiah Farrar. Ogden comes through. Can they make something of this? Was that a slightly high tackle on O'Brien? Brought to that ground brilliantly. Play on the call. Stepping one. That's better by Jeff Garlett. Hacks the kick inside attacking 50. Farrar is caught behind, but it might come back to him. Williams O'Brien just has to get it over the top if he can. He flares it out wide. Chance for the Crocs. Still can they get it to Farrar? Kick it up forward. Don't go sideways. McAdam. Now Farrar's been marked, and they've mucked up a huge opportunity. The Crocs still have the footy. Wyatt to Barlow. Handball missed its target. Gets a push, and the Crocs will live another day because they come up with it 55 out. But Ferrar was all alone for about 45 hours in the forward pocket.
He was just calling on the lead there as well, Rob, right as you're making that comment there.
As any good forward, he was pretty dirty on it too, Rob.
Isaac White from 60 out, kicks it out of bounds on the full in the right forward pocket. Oh, Crocs. Not sure that Shannon Rusk is too calm right about now, Hodgie.
No, I've been in a coach in the box with Shannon Rusker. He is actually quite calm at times. But I don't reckon he would be right now.
Bowles forced to go back and kick over the man on the mark. Michael Joshua. Arnold. Well, it's too easy. He came from a long way back, ran onto the mark in front of McAdam. And then thumps it to the wing. Miles. Might have just been pushed under it. Well done by Dingo to disguise it. And Gilhouse can't keep it in play.
Good play there, Nightcliff. They had to go short. The big guys were set up long down the line, but probably too far. So they went that short one, and then the long kick down to that contest. All got pushed under the footy, but probably a win for them to have a boundary throw here on centre wing.
Gilhouse, it's brute strength. Came to Kidney, squeezed out to Wilson, now to Davin Hall. The flying boots of Davin Hall. Does well to give it to Schwartz. Over the top to McAdam. Oh, he couldn't get the ball.
Messed it up again.
And on the half,
players free.
On the half volley, Barlow is sliding by as well. So it's not connecting all that well at the moment, but as Hodgie mentioned, just 13 points down at the 17.5-minute mark of the second quarter.
I'd love to see Davin Hall across half forward. They seem to be breaking down in that area. A bit of magic across that half forward might make a bit of a difference for him.
Gilhouse wrestled Miles off the footy. To Barlow's getting busy. He's not playing his best footy. Sockers off the ground, straight in the shins of Josiah Farah. Here's an opportunity here for Joshua to Josiah Farah from 40 metres out. Hasn't got the hook on the kick again. And it's off hands and through for a behind to the Crocs. 4-3 plays 6-3.
Had his brother Willie on the lead there. I think Willie gave him a bit of a dirty look on that. Went straight over his head and had a shot on goal.
Well, Will Farrah's normally the one with a better shot on goal, though.
Jaden Pickett, straight down the throat of O'Brien, who's been able to mark one grab. He wanted to play on quickly, had McLaughlin short. Would have been a bad option if he'd got it away quickly, but he's decided to go back. What's his range like, Hodgie? Small in stature, but experienced player.
He is, yeah, premiership player in the waffle. So, yeah, I think he could carry the distance here, but obviously bit of a humid night. He's gone for short here and he's found Davin Hall. This is fantastic. This is the guy we want to see up forward.
We saw Hall kick pretty well last week, didn't we, Matty? So I think he's at least going to make the distance, and he's pretty accurate as well. So District's having a good period. They've mucked up some chances, but they're hanging in. Kick this, and they're with just a goal away at the 19-minute mark of the second quarter. He's running a bit close to the man on the mark. He kicks at goals. It got the carry. It has. No, it hasn't. Touched right on the line by the Tigers, and just maybe rushed the kick a little bit. Certainly got a bigger leg than that. As Riley marks bringing the ball out down the Morris Riolta grandstand side of TIO Stadium. Margins 11 points, the Tigers' favour. It was a point their way at quarter time. Big pack flies off the ground, goes Coco Nicky. Running back was Butcher. Holman read it best, but he's got three Tigers around him. Shrugged a tackle through the legs of Brett Johnson. Came to Barlow. His kick to Josiah Farah. Couldn't get the bouncing ball. It was tricky. And comes to Bowles. Here's the ball knocked from his grasp. Heavy bump there on Ogden. It's a good contest at centre half forward. Davin Hall lays a tackle. Tunnel ball and a throw. It goes against Brett Johnson. And it's going to be a free kick to Masters of Nightcliff, who kicks up towards half forward to the back of the pack. Schofield up against Coco Nicky. Schofield wanted the boundary. Nicky wants a free kick and he gets it. I don't think he disguised that too well. I reckon that's pretty good umpiring. It's a one-on-one battle close to the line. Oh, Melville had it spent before he took the mark. And Holman did well. Ball dislodged, turnover, came to Schwartz. His kick towards the wing. Josiah Farah, Barlow. Tricky little handball goes back over his head towards Josiah Farah. He's got Butterick for company. He was able to run around him and kick it towards Barlow again. But the kick didn't quite find its target. Masters, good pressure from Nightcliff.
Last couple of minutes, boys, we've seen quick ball in here, but we've seen some fumbles. It's probably pretty important to note to our viewers and listeners that the humidity out there is out of control tonight, and the ball is very, very slippery and slippery underfoot as well.
Bowles long kick to right half forward to the back of the pack. Holt Fitz has been dangerous. Schofield tackles him strongly and sees him out of bounds. Good result for the Crocs.
I like young Schofield. He's got a bit of go on him. He's put plenty of pressure on him. He's a workhorse, and he's been pretty good for Southern Districts down back, and been a tough night for him. He's had Holt Fitz to look after, and he might be the one for Hagan. Hagan has gone out of the game a little bit now, but he could be a good matchup for him.
Gilhouse to McAdam. 2 Tigers around him straight away. Ogden off the ground. Davin Hall couldn't take it with him. Bricknell tunnels it forward. Picked up here by Coco Nicky. Wants a teammate. McLaughlin for the Crocs on hands and knees. Bounces to his feet. Gets it to O'Brien. He's immediately tackled. Pemberton. Here's Davin Hall again. The excitement machine on the left boot. Kicks well left and right. Up towards half forward. Damien Williams, after kicking the first goal of the night, has been pretty quiet. He's been well marked by Bowles out there. And he sidesteps around Williams and kicks up towards Melville at half forward. Melville thumps it in long towards centre half forward. Who's he got? He's got Kane Riley. Kane Riley, beautiful kick. Well done by Holman. Got to the contest. Spoiled away from Wilson. Comes to Coco Nicky. He's pushed to ground, but not before he got a clever kick to Butcher in the forward pocket. And a high tackle. Little clumsy there by the Crocs player dropping back in Brett Johnson. Didn't really need to do that. Could have just corralled Butcher, but he was clumsy. And Butcher has a chance for his first goal of the night and to push the margin out to 17 points.
First game though, young Brett Johnson, obviously, yeah, bit clumsy there, but Butch obviously with some AFL experience. I just read Schofield's got some AFL experience as well, which is very interesting.
The Bulldogs, yeah.
Butcher's kick on goal, and he's hooked it through for one behind.
Needed to do better with that. Nightcliff probably needed that one. The momentum's been all Southern Districts in the last 5 minutes. Really needed to kick that goal.
So this quarter it's been 3 goals to 1 in favour of Nightcliff, and at half-time, a short quarter, just 23 minutes. It's the Tigers, 6-4-40, Southern Districts 4-4-28.
So here's everything you need to know about the Great Air Race in 30 seconds or less. 100 years ago, there was a race from London to Darwin by aeroplane. And mates, this was only 20 years after the first aeroplane flew just 37 metres. The winning plane, a Vickers Vimy, was flown by Australian brothers Ross and Keith Smith and their mechanics Wally Shires and Jim Bennett. This was the birth of international air travel, and they landed in Parap. There's a park there now. Some people reckon their flight was almost as significant as the Apollo missions 50 years later. Some of the places they landed had never even seen an aeroplane before. This year, a guy called Michael Smith, who isn't related to the other Smiths, is retracing the exact flight 100 years on. The Great Air Race. What a great territory story. Yeah, I know, it was longer than 30 seconds. There's just too much to fit in.
We're here for when the heavens open and the winds howl. We're here for when the water just won't stop. We're here for the wet, and we're here for the dry. We're here because we know there's nowhere else you'd rather be.
And there's nowhere else we'd rather be either. TIO Home Insurance. We're for Territorians.
Hi, I'm Michael Smith, captain of Southern Sun, and we're retracing the 1919 Smith Brothers flight from London through to Darwin, the first time a plane ever arrived, and also brought with it the first airmail. An incredible, important journey that I'm really proud to have been retracing. I've spent 3 weeks. I will have gone to 20 countries by the time I get to Darwin. It's almost as hot here. I'm kind of preparing for the Darwin heat, being a Melbourne boy. But I've been following this magazine. This National Geographic magazine is 100 years old, and it tells the story and has the photos from the trip they did. And I've been going to each of the same places and trying to take the same photos. It's been wonderful seeing these places, and interesting to observe how the world has and hasn't changed in 100 years. People are still warm and helpful, and no matter where I go, people want to know more about the story and help. But things that have changed, there's a lot more paperwork today than they dealt with, but we have better runways. They were often landing in paddocks. It's only a couple of days to go. I can't wait to get to Darwin. 3:45 p.m. on Tuesday the 10th. I'll see you there.
Absolutely zero.
Zero.
Yeah, definitely.
It has to be 0.
Yes.
Yep.
Absolutely.
I don't think that's asking too much.
Kilonewton centrifugal force, infrared remote control.
How does he do it?
24.5 kilowatt diesel motor.
He doesn't just know how to operate every piece of Kennard's hire gear we get in, but also its service details, its safety checks. I don't know.
It's as if he can hypnotise each piece.
Give me 2 passes with sauce, coffee white with 1 bun with icing, no pink icing.
Yep, no worries, Terry.
Time to escape, cause I'm in need of warmer weather. Sail upon the stream to find there's someplace better. And I'm going far and wide.
Great Northern Brewing Co. The beer from up here.
Boys, we've got a real big problem. It belongs to you, it belongs to me, it belongs to everybody. I'm talking about family violence. It's time we said no more to family violence, isn't it? Yeah. Think about it.
We've all got to say no more to family violence.
No more!
Family violence is a community problem and it needs a community response from all of us, and sport is a big part of that. But we can all do our bit by being more respectful to each other. Please make this year the year we say no more to family violence.
Looking for the best and brightest to join your team? At Quality People, we specialise in finding quality, hard-to-get professionals, and we have an office right here in Darwin. Kick your recruitment goals with Quality People. qualitypeople.com.au.
Now that's quality.
You are one of almost 140,000 people living in an area at risk of being affected by a cyclone this wet season. In your cyclone kit, you will need a battery-operated radio and torch with spare batteries, enough food and at least 10 litres of water per person to sustain you and your family for 72 hours or more. Remember, all important documentation such as passports, photos and insurance policies should be kept in a safe and waterproof place. Be prepared this wet season. Brought to you by TIO.
On Territory roads, anything can happen, so you need to drive to the conditions. Speeding can get you into all sorts of trouble. Dirt roads aren't just dusty. When it's hard to see, they're dangerous. At water crossings, remember, you're driving a motor car, not a boat. High water can be deep trouble.
the NTFL clubs and umpires would like to share the following events and messages and thank their sponsors.
Getting my hands on the footy and just being with my mates.
I like being outdoors. It just makes me happy. I don't like it when I get yelled at.
It's pretty embarrassing when someone's shouting at you halfway through the game.
It makes me feel like I'm useless and I can't do anything.
We're just kids.
We're just here to have fun.
Let us do what we love.
Just let kids be kids.
You go home and get your scannies, I'll go home and get my panties, and away we'll go. Oh, shuffle up the buffalo, shuffle up the buffalo. Oh.
Wedding or birthday is coming up? Maybe a get-together with friends and family. Waratah Clubhouse at Gardens Oval is the perfect venue for your next community function. Celebrate in the home to one of Darwin's iconic football clubs, Waratah Clubhouse.
Students from Andheri School in Central Australia and Niu Community Daly River travel to Darwin to participate in the Michael Long Learning Leadership Centre Employment Pathways program. Here's a rundown of what they got up to.
We spent the afternoon learning from rangers who are leaders in our community who look after our country. On our second day, we explored employment pathway at CDU. At CDU, we learned about careers in health and learned new skills on how to care for sick patients. On Thursday, we will be participating in work experience at AFLNT. Today, we prepared for this by writing a CV and cover letters. We experienced an interview and had to explain why we wanted the job.
We got up so early today to go to Norfolk. We did fitness training, learned about jobs in Norfolk, and got to view lots of equipment.
In the afternoon, we visited Aboriginal broadcasting. Some of us got to go on radio, others made TV commercials.
Today we got to work at the AFLNTs. The choices were reception, media, maintenance and game development. And one group had the chance to work with Karen Sheldon Catering.
We are learning about tourism and hospitality at school. This morning we saw all the jobs available in a hotel and visited Crocodile's Cove. The crocodiles were awesome and they were heaps of people with cool jobs here too.
The thing I liked most about this week was everything.
Teaching other kids.
The Crocodile's Cove catering.
Game development because we went to Marara and teach the kids how to play footy.
Training. I like playing games with the kids and teaching them things. Going to Norfolk and looking at their cool equipments.
For more information, please visit the relevant club or umpire's Facebook page.
Welcome back to TIO Stadium, where it's half-time. Southern Districts 4-4-28, trailing Nightcliff 6-4-40. And, well, we just heard before, I think the Southern Districts #1 fan, Kev, just trying to get the fans into this game to see if Southern Districts have enough life in them in this second half, gentlemen.
Yeah, we were just talking about in the break, Nightcliff have had most of the momentum throughout this game, and Districts have just found a way to stay in, and we've seen some highlights here. Hagan's been amazing early on, Rob Cross. He's had plenty of footy and hit the scoreboard plenty of times. Kane Riley's been really good, but this is outstanding from the captain for Southern District. Pressure from both sides has been outstanding all night. That's probably the reason why we've seen a lot of fumble and some mistakes made, but yeah, just some really good play both sides. Kane Riley, big guy, staying on his feet. It's been really good, and Hagan again. So it'll be interesting to see what sides Nightcliff at times set up very, very defensively, and Districts probably struggled to clear the ball out of their defence at times, but when they move the ball quick and they switch the ball out the far side, I think Rob Cross said it a couple of times, they tend to get the ball forward, and obviously these guys have been super exciting throughout the game, Rob Cross.
Josiah Ferrar there, and there's Michael Hagan just on screen banging on through. He's kicked half of Nightcliff's score. 3 goals, 2 out of 6 for 40. He's been very exciting. It's hard to know which way the game is going to swing. Hodgie, you made a good point at half-time that as the players stand outside this cool room, for people that don't live in Darwin in the top end and know how hot it gets here during the wet season, there's 2 cool rooms that teams can go into at half-time. The air conditioners are blasting. Half of or most of the Nightcliff players are outside of that standing up, as there are lots of Crocs players down on the ground doing stretches and maybe not quite looking as fit, but perhaps as Nightcliff.
Probably not as enthusiastic, I think, but if body language is anything to go by, you think Nightcliff might start this quarter pretty strongly, but look, Southern Districts are really well coached. Shannon Rusker, head coach, Matt Cannard, Tom Fiddock, some really good coaches there, so they'll get their players up and about. I'm pretty sure they'll put their best players around the footy right now. And looking at it, looks like Seb Gilhouse is going in the middle with Josiah Farrow, who's been outstanding all night. Barlow, you said, had been a little bit quiet. Rob Cross, and started to get himself back into the game, and Rory O'Brien's gone into the middle, which he was outstanding for them in that first quarter, so good to see him in the middle. But Nightcliff also coached really well. We talked about situationally they're structured up really well. They have a big guy down the line on the slow play when they need to. They'll have a big guy on the line, and the little guys up the forward line, they just know when it's their turn to apply pressure, get front and centre. So both sides coached really well, and I think we're set up for really, really good half footy.
Same 4 start in this quarter as has at the beginning of the first and second quarters for Nightcliff. Wills, Eilert, Wilson and Miles. O'Brien is swapped in for Beau Schwartz. The other 3 are the same. Gilhouse up against Miles. Second half underway. Let's hope it's a thriller. 2 goals the lead at the moment to Nightcliff. Ball comes in the Ogden direction, running back of the flight, and takes the mark. They want to move it quickly. Schofield takes it and goes, gives to Barlow. Back to Schofield, and his kick is long up towards the full forward area. I haven't seen much of Garlett. That's Williams on this occasion. Jaden Pickett comes up with a footy, gives to Coco Nicky, who had a sore shoulder during that second quarter, has recovered pretty well. Heavy bump by Eilert on Davin Hall, clears a path for Nicky. His low kick looking for Bricknell, missed the target. Winter Irving, clever, squeezed the handball through some outstretched hands, gave to Bricknell. We love a set shot from him. What's he like on the run? Horrible, kicks it through, and in fact it dribbles out of bounds. Just poked at that. He had no one around him, and he probably could have steadied and nailed it from 30.
I'm pretty sure Rick Nolan's been quoted as saying that he is the best set shot in the league, but is the worst on the run. Not my words. Rick Nolan's.
Yeah, I heard him say it. I was there when he said it.
Interesting there at half back. Southern Districts just tried to kick the ball on the ground. Nightcliff bent over, picked the ball up and cleared the ball quite easily and got into their forward line.
From behind, huge leap by Winter Irving, and he's pushed Gilhouse down. He's taking a little while to get up, the big man, a knee right in the middle of the back.
Have they filmed Maths already, Matty? Do we know? Is he already married? His new wife would be disappointed with that if he damaged the good looks.
Damaged the face, so that's okay. Just a knee in the back. Stretching and marking is Zach Brain. 55 out. He's impressive in the first half. Some really tough things, skillful as well. Comes from Queensland. Zach Brain kicks long in towards the pocket from behind, and leaping one, grab 2, couldn't quite get it at the second attempt. Holt Fitz, clever play by Holman. Accidentally, ball spilled out of his hands and ran out of bounds.
Brain had the distance there. If he straightened up a little bit, he probably could have put that through the sticks.
I think Holman's been pinged a couple of times for deliberate out of bounds for that situation. He disguised that one really well, Rob Cross.
So Gilhouse and Winter Irving, former Pints player, Div 1 of the NTFL. Barlow. Oh, Josiah Ferrar wanted left, wanted right, and then just trickled away off a shin. O'Brien to Pemberton. He's kicking the Wilson direction. McLaughlin handballs to himself and does well. He's a wonderful player, Dylan McLaughlin. Very underrated player. Here's the running Barlow. What can he do? The former Swan and Bulldog hooks the kick around, wanting McAdam, kicks it straight to Bowles. So a turnover. And Bowles has had a good game. To Brewer, premiership player last year for Nightcliff. Searching kick for Eilert. Joshua comes at him. Eilert steps around him a little bit too easily and then kicks up towards half forward. Wants Hagan, who's kicked 3 goals. Can't shrug. Bowden this time had the better and clever by Brain. Scooped it up one-handed. Hooks the kick brilliantly to Butcher. Oh, wonderful kick. Could have had a ping himself. The peripheral vision was wonderful. No wonder his name is Brain with a football effort like that.
Oh, fantastic, Rob Cross. That was outstanding. But no, that was really good play. He could have blazed away, but just the corner of his eye got Butcher, and you know, hopefully he can kick this.
35 metres out, John Butcher has kicked a goal. Wonderful strike by the big man, the former Port player. And Nightcliff squeeze out to a 3-goal lead, 7-4 to 4-4.
We saw the danger man, Hagan, come out and meet that footy. Great work from Cameron Eilert, centre wing. Hagan came out and met the footy on this far side. I think Bowden might have got a bit of a serve at half-time from the coach because he was a bit loose on Hagan. He's fixed it up in this situation here, but Brain, probably the district's players around this contest, Dingo, probably needed to close that gap a bit sooner and not give him as much time and space. And obviously when you give a player time and space and got good foot skills, that's what they're going to do to you. They're going to hurt you.
Your handy pick-up too, wasn't it? It's the one-handed scoop and away.
Very nice.
So a handy lead to the Tigers. The reigning premiers, they beat Southern Districts back in round 1 and a pretty good footing at the moment. O'Brien might have been taken high. Arnold went through. Josiah Farah couldn't grab it. Here's Jeff Garlett, the former Blue. Squeezes the kick out in the Davin Hall direction. Will it sit for him? Kidney's right on his hammer. Hall's got pace. Scoops it up now. Oh, twists away so beautifully. Puts the ball to ground. Onto the left boot. Looking for Gilhouse. Knocked away. Well done by Miles. Comes out to Eilert's. Eilert's kick up towards centre half forward. Couple of Tigers running back into the contest. Grabbed by Melville. Given to Winter Irving. Comes to Holt Fitz. Tigers don't get another one. It's across the face and out of bounds on the full.
Just kept banging it forward there, didn't they? I think you meant when Jeff Garlett turned that footy over, former Demon.
Yes.
Well cross, not Blue. Demon when he has a bad kick, Blue when he has a good one.
Best of the 4 kicks. Joshua offers a lead, scoops it up beautifully on the half volley, and then kicks for Bowden out on the full, I reckon. Just. So Brewer will take the kick. Bowden not complaining too much. Brewer, 70 out, right half forward. It's all Nightcliff at the moment. Danger time for Districts. Little lull period after half-time and games could be blown apart. Bowles has got a thumping kick. Beautiful sidestep around Garlett and thumps the goal. And then pumps the thing with his fist. The running halfback drifted forward, stepped around Garlett and thumped it through for Nightcliff's 8th goal.
Sorry, Rob, not good enough from the Southern District's forwards there. They just stood flat-footed while Bowles ran off. I think it was off Williams. He's ran 30 metres, got this ball. Williams is just standing behind him flat-footed, hoping he didn't get it. Of course, he did get it. And he finishes. That's why he's so excited. He's playing down back and he's... Any defender that kicks a goal like that, you've got to be pretty excited.
It's got to be the Joel Bowdens about him, I reckon. The left foot and the step, the height.
Yeah, all left footers are nice kicks of the ball. So good finish there by Bowles. Not good enough from Southern District's forwards. I imagine Coach Shannon Rusker would be livid.
And Josiah Farah's body language said the same as well. And they got that goal. He threw his hands up in the air and went, "What are we doing?"
Farah, can he lift his team? Garlett went through without it. Josiah Farah comes up the ball, finds Duffy. That left half back for the Crocs. They need one quickly. Josiah Farah is offered a lead. It's not much forward of the footy, is it? All red and yellow, so I should say yellow and black jumpers. Duffy marks. Good manning up by Nightcliff. Miles drops back into the hole as well. Kicks down the line. Williams, Riley forces him off the footy, ball goes out of bounds.
Districts need to move that ball quicker because Nightcliff are setting up really well. Rob behind the footy, and Matty, they just get numbers behind. They're so disciplined in the way they set up. They're well coached, well drilled. They just know exactly where to be at every situation in a game. Districts probably need to utilise that switch and get the ball out the other side as quick as possible.
Until a moment ago, all Crocodile bench players were sitting on the bench. All 4 Tigers players are still up off the bench. I reckon fitness is something that is heavily in favour of Nightcliff tonight. McAdam, handball missed his target, wanted Garlett, missed badly.
Rotations at the moment are probably 3-1. Nightcliff, they're just rotating through their midfielders. You can see Holt Fitz and Wilson now having a break, as is Coco Nicky, who's been playing on a wing. So they're spreading the load really well, Nightcliff. They're very, very well drilled.
Love a goal here. Left half forward, Gilhouse throws Miles out. Clever. Wow. That's better by Garlett. Read it and kicks in the Barlow direction, who's gone forward, but he had the ball knocked away from him. Might be a chance here, O'Brien. Can he hook the kick around? Not enough. Through from behind.
Gee, that was quick from Garlett, wasn't it?
Former Carlton player. Outstanding.
Not a Melbourne player this time.
Goes out towards the back pocket. Nightcliff well in control of this match. They have kicked the only 2 goals of the third quarter. Marley McGregor offers a long lead and it switches on to the Morris Rioli grandstand side. Marks in front of Seb Gilhouse. He kicks in the Brewer direction. Got Schwartz for company. Well done by Schwartz. One way then the other. Brewer hangs off him. Schwartz keeps going. Gains 20 metres, thumps it long. O'Brien's got a couple of big Tigers to come up against. One of those was Bowles. Neat stepping by Kidney. Handball popped over the top, back to Bowles. Good pressure by O'Brien. That's better desperation by the Crocs.
He needs some mates in that situation. Obviously, he's won the free kick here, but you just saw the Nightcliff players all getting back and helping each other out. O'Brien putting the pressure on. He's won himself a free kick. I think it was for a throw, potentially, but he needs some mates.
Will shoot from 35 metres out, left forward pocket. Suit the right footer. Tough shot there though, because you've got to aim at the left goal post. Maybe because the grandstand stops in that pocket, Hodgie, and the breeze or something happens to the... You so often see kicks swing from left to right. That end of the ground, the Michael Long centre in. But he's a talented player, Rory O'Brien. He's got 1 behind so far tonight. He might just run around a tad, open up the angle slightly. Don't think he's got it. In fact, he's too narrow, out of bounds on the full.
That was some very interesting scare tactics there by the Nightcliff defender. Like a wave or something going on.
Whatever works, whatever.
Yeah.
Brewer, awkward kick. Eventually got it on the half volley. Kicks to Marley McGregor. Coming strongly late was Winter Irving. Well done by Dingo to knock it out of bounds. In fact, it's out of bounds on the full. So the Crocs get another chance. Owen Skender and Joshua wait to come on for the Crocs. Dingo kicks inside, attacking 50. Brewer was there. Nightcliff close to the boundary line again, stays in. Winter Irving, you'd hear his footsteps every time, wouldn't you? He's not afraid to smash a pack, and he comes up with a footy. Handball was smothered. Davin Hall's in the play, as is Keenan Dingo. McLaughlin lined up Arnold and missed. Barlow's got 2 to beat, and that's out on the full, I think. The boundary umpire didn't see it. The 2 Tigers players on the bench did. And from our vantage point up here, it was pretty tough on the boundary umpire because he was blocked, I think, by Brad Arnold. But I'm pretty sure that was out on the full. Oh, maybe not. Maybe just inside. Good decision, ump. Men in green are always right, Hodgie.
Absolutely. Never argue.
In it comes again. Front spot, Gilhouse. Well done by Marley McGregor. Just nudged the much bigger man out of the way. McLaughlin trying to lift his team and got one in the head for his troubles. Keenan Dingo to Schwartz, who's been good, to Barlow. Horrible kick by Barlow. Bounced all along the ground. There's Nightcliff do the defensive thing. Just on the ground is Owen Skender. He did enough to force the ball to bobble up into the arms of Schwartz. Barlow from behind went one-handed against Marley McGregor. Now he's got 3 to beat and won't beat them, I wouldn't think. Brain stumbles and then gets up and gives to Marley McGregor. And Bowles has time to move the ball there onto a running teammate. Back inboard it comes. Phil Wills, former buff. Reigning Nichols medalist for the best and fairest in the NTFL. From the middle of TIO Stadium, thumps the Tigers in towards the forward pocket over the head of Hagan, who went up early. And Keenan Dingo finds the ball on his chest. Dingo's horrible kick straight down the throat of Brain, who has 2 goes at it, but such was the lack of pressure, was able to take the chest mark eventually. It's all Nightcliff at the moment. They lead by 23 points, 12 minutes gone. From behind, Eilert had a good piece of it, couldn't take the mark, sells the dummy, hooks the kick and kicks the goal. Well done by Nightcliff, well done by Cam Eilert. The superstar has done it again, and the margin is blowing out. They've doubled their scores, the Tigers, a 9-4-58 to 4-5-29.
Potentially the difference between the two sides, guys, is Nightcliff's ability to just get numbers around the footy. We saw him across half back. Marley McGregor just handball here. Cameron Eilert really smart with his body. Didn't take the mark, but just followed up really well. The veteran, he finishes quite well. You see Will Ferrar in the back line there, but Nightcliff's ability, we've seen it a couple of times in defence. It must be really good to know as a defender, you've got teammates around you, you've got plenty of support, and that's the difference between the two sides at the moment. They're just working harder than Southern Districts. So hopefully Southern Districts can turn it around and make this a game.
3 straight to 1 behind. Williams has gone into the ruck for the Crocs up against Marley McGregor, who won the ground ball and thumps it back inside, attacking 50 again. Quick snap from Hagan. Has he got 4 out of nothing? No, he's hooked it too far. And then gives Holman a big bump for his troubles. He's pretty fired up and confident, is Michael Hagan.
I think he was celebrating that one. I think Holman let him know it didn't quite go through the middle. Celebrate too early.
Bowden from defence. Nice kick. Finds Brett Johnson. Just pokes a little kick to Duffy, who gathered beautifully. Johnson run down in a strong tackle, comes back to Duffy. Eilert and Johnson. Oh, well done by Johnson. Stripped it away from the much stronger, more experienced player. His kick was a little skew-if. Comes to O'Brien. Now out it comes to Joshua. It sits, does it? He's got so much space and time. He can keep going. He could have had a bounce if he wanted to. Instead, he plays on, kicks it up towards full forward and straight down the throat of a Tigers player who's well tackled, Joel Butterick. Joshua goes again. Can he make more of this opportunity? Funnels it out to Will Ferrar. They'd love a goal. Centering kick from behind. Williams, what can he do? Bounces off his shoulder. Comes at it again. Handball back to Joshua. Quick snap on goal on the left. Is way to the left and a behind only. 4-6 plays 9-5. The Tigers by 29. 14 minutes gone, third quarter.
They had to do a lot better with that. The Southern District's forwards don't seem to want any contact. The Nightcliff defenders desperate, making sure that they don't give them any opportunities, which has been good to watch.
Kane Riley, lovely kick. Coco Nicky slid across the paint of 50 in defence and took a very good mark. One stage it looked like Williams might have been a chance. Nicky's kick, though, to the wing and only as far as Rory O'Brien. So a couple of OK minutes. The Crocs need to put a score on the board. Straight through the fingers of Williams. He's not having a good night. Josiah Farrar can't shrug the tackle. Johnson in there. Josiah Farrar still fighting on against 2. Socket off the ground, only as far as O'Brien. He goes inboard rather than the player he had out wide. Barlow about to be tackled. He finds Ogden. Ogden in the middle of TIO Stadium. Wonderful kick. Hits the chest of Will Ferrar, who was on the lead. There's a fight in the middle. There's about half a dozen players just off camera. Will Ferrar is lining up for goal. It's a much needed goal too, because Districts trail by 29 points. Scuffle's being resolved. I think Ed Barlow is the last player to get up from the ground. Farrar doesn't like his chances, so he kicks wide out to Johnson. He has a kick smothered, and they're making some bad decisions here, the Crocs, and they're being swarmed on by the Tigers. Play on the call, no holding the footy. Paris, I think it was, swept a handball out to Jaden Pickett, who shrugs the tackle. Coco Nicky's on here. Goes to ground. Davin Hall. 60 out from goal, centering ball, oh that's terrible, to Arnold, and they're away the Tigers. Up to centre half forward, Holt Fitz is there, Butcher's there, Holt Fitz comes in from the side, Butcher, can he find Holt Fitz? Holt Fitz comes up with it now, he's got a couple of teammates on, oh Hagan drifts forward, and Hagan drops the chest mark, it's 2-on-1, Schofield is the one Croc, Hagan shrugs the tackles, still going Schofield, comes to Arnold, slips through his fingertips, they might get away with it, the Crocs they will. Pemberton, how do they not score a goal in Nightcliff? Had all the numbers. numbers, out to Ogden, out to Joshua, and somehow the Crocs might now kick a goal at the other end if it can find its way to McLaughlin. He's got a couple of Tigers around him, shrugs the tackle to Isaac Wyatt. Oh, it's going to come back to Holt Fitz, has a bounce. This is an incredible passage of play from 30 metres. Holt Fitz kicks the goal they should have kicked 90 seconds ago. I thought the Crocs were going to turn it around. They fumbled it across half back and it ended up in the hands of Liam Holt Fitz, and the margin blows out to 35.
Comedy of errors there. Michael Hagan probably a little bit too casual, but well done, Liam Holt Fitz. He's a classy finisher, isn't he, Rob Cross? Would love to see him on an AFL list. This kid is super quick and has got really good skills both sides of his body. Probably a little bit too light, but he's just finished that really well off the back of some good pressure. They probably needed to kick the one when Hagan dropped the mark, but obviously a good sides fix up mistakes and finish it. So.
Probably one of the first mistakes Hagan's made all night. We've been singing his praises for the last 2.5 quarters.
I think he was knackered because he was in that little scuffle in the middle of the ground.
Oh,
so
yeah, okay,
he was out of breath.
Yeah.
Williams up against Marley McGregor. It's all Nightcliff. Barlow went without the footy. Arnold, Brain was clever, smashes it 20 metres up towards half forward. Holt Fitz and Pemberton. Well, Pemberton did pretty well. He's like a pinball bouncing around between a couple of Tigers. Zach Brain, Joshua, excellent, socket to himself, gained 20 metres. Kane Riley was buffeted, comes now to McLaughlin, who's good. Scooped it up in the middle of some pretty heavy traffic and then drills it down the throat of Ferrar. Will Ferrar was a Garland who dropped the easy mark in the end, had it on his chest, bounced off. And not Jeffy Garlett's night here at TIO Stadium, the former Demon. And so there'll be a ball up by Mark Noonan in game number 260. Marley McGregor. Williams wins the tap down to Ed Barlow. Owen Skender to Josiah Farrer, who's kicking towards the forward pocket. 1-on-3 battle. And Farrer couldn't pull that one off. Bowls. Sidesteps. Gives to Jaden Pickett, who pokes a kick to Arnold, who marks at right half back. Arnold's kick one-on-one contest. Wyatt, good strength up against the bigger Winter Irving. Melville low for the Tigers to Phil Wills. Owen Skender lays the tackle. Back to Brewer, shrugs Owen Skender. Handball away from Bowden. Melville low, drop the footy. Owen Skender still fighting on at ground level, as is Melville. Here's Joshua again. Good kick. Oh, it's a bit too tall for Barlow though, but he gets the bouncing footy. Spilling it there was Pickett. Pickett ends up with the ball. There's a dropping the ball decision though. Barlow still wants to fight. Across half back. It's going to be a Tigers ball. And hits the chest of Phil Wills. No answers at the moment, the Crocs. Had some half chances. Drifting down was Riley, who takes a very strong mark. Might have got a little bit of protection from Jonathan Miles. Yet again, it was a 2-on-1 contest. They're getting to all the contests, Nightcliff. Melville all alone. Danger here for the Crocs again. Melville just pumps it long to the top of the square. Bricknell running back with a flight there. Comes to Butcher. Well, we might have taken one high. A quick snap. Here's Liam Holt Fitz again. Neat step. Gets it off the side of the boot and runs it through for his second in a few minutes. It's all Nightcliff. The reigning premiers are dominant here at TIO Stadium. They have kicked their 5th goal of the quarter and they lead by 41 points.
It's really smart going forward then. They didn't rush it. They went short. Melville goes long here, but before that passage, they just went short. Districts with plenty of numbers behind the footy. They were just smart, lowered their eyes, used the free player, get it long into the tall timber, and then just surge it forward. This is pretty clever. Liam Holt Fitz, I think he was on the ground when he kicked it off the side of his right foot. So classy finish. He's kicked the last 2, hasn't he, guys?
Yep. Reigning Cheney medalist for the best player in the grand final from Tennant Creek.
Got some really good structure up there, haven't they, with the 3 talls and the smalls as well. And Cameron Islet's up there now, so very good forward line.
A bloke in their first round win, Lachlan Sharp, 4 goals. I'm not sure whether he's going to be back for a few games. Not sure how they fit them all in, Hodgie.
Yeah, some good problems to have with the coaching staff at Nightcliff.
So Beau Schwartz, who's tried his heart out, has got the footy. 21 minutes gone in the 3rd quarter here at TIO Stadium. And it's all Nightcliff in this quarter. They've blown the match wide open. Hard to see the Crocs even getting close, let alone back into contention. Or they get a free kick here. And Ed Barlow, who's had a rotten night for his lofty standards, He's tried hard, slow start, trying to work his way back into it. Was involved in a scuffle earlier in this quarter in the middle. Just went for a few minutes.
He's been tagged most of the night as well. Robbie's had players off him, hanging off him, and then he's had to go forward and be the tall forward and compete. They just haven't had a tall forward all night to compete, which has made it really tough for them.
For his first score of the night, bring the margin back to 35 points from 45 metres out, 45-degree angle. He is away to the right.
Roger, you mentioned about Barlow being tagged, and I think that's frustrated him as well. You can see there's a lot of anger in his body language tonight.
I don't think there's one specific person that's gone to him. I think they've just been really accountable for him around stoppages and outside of it in general play, which has been really well done for Nightcliff.
Brain, just 2 kicks and it's up to half forward thanks to Pickett's wonderful marksmanship from full back. Bowden kicks high, sends the Crocs back to half forward. Oh, lovely fly there by Masters. Couldn't quite bring it to ground. Shrugs the tackle, dishes off a handball. They're still in control here, Nightcliff. Squeezes a kick back into the middle. Holt Fitz has had a wonderful quarter. Couple of goals as well as some other bits and pieces. Davin Hall's brought to ground. Bricknell pokes it to Holt Fitz, who's bounced back up into contention to grab the footy once more. Crocs get numbers back. Schofield out to O'Brien. He's got Schwartz gliding by. Stepped around Arnold, stepped around Melville, and Schwartz still in control of the footy. Wants something at half forward. Goes in the Keenan Dingo direction. And well played by his opponent though. And it trickles out of bounds.
I reckon, boys, if we pulled up the champion data stats, if we had them, I reckon every Nightcliff player's at least laid 1 or 2 tackles, and I reckon if you look on the flip side, Southern Districts, they've probably been about 8 to 10 that potentially haven't laid a tackle. I just think early on their pressure was really good, but it's really dropped off after quarter time.
Gilhouse does the rucking and the roving, gave the hand to McLaughlin, who's met heavily by Marley McGregor. O'Brien takes the mark and sends it clear in the McAdam direction. Spoiled away though, and in the end grabbed by Bowles, who just waits and then pokes the kick over the top to Masters, gets an awkward bounce and then dives back on the footy. Ferrar comes at him, back to McAdam. He pokes a little kick back to Barlow, forces it forward by hand, wasn't going to get there to take the mark. O'Brien, quick snap, vacant, goal square, has he got it? He does. Much needed goal by the Crocs close to 3/4 time. Could that give them a sniff? 5-7-37, Nightcliff 11-5-71.
Nightcliff have had a really good spread of players that have probably been their better players, but Southern Districts have struggled to find some good players. But this guy right here, he's been outstanding for Districts all night. He said Barlow tried hard, but O'Brien just probably a bit of a rough finish, but he finished it nonetheless, and good reward for effort. Like I said before, if we did have champion data, I reckon he's probably had about 35-40 touches. Robbie's he's been very impressive for Southern Districts.
Like you said, he's been a flagship of probably 6 to 8 players for Southern Districts, whereas Nightcliff have really shared the love around tonight.
Yeah, and he just hasn't had the mates that have put up the same sort of effort that he has over the course of the game so far.
Nightcliff led by a point at quarter time, 12 points at half time, closing on 3/4 time. They lead by 34 points. They've kicked 5 goals to 1 in this third quarter. That is the siren for 3/4 time. Is it a match-winning lead? It must be close. 25 minutes that quarter went, and at 3/4 time, the Tigers, the reigning premiers, 11-5-71, lead the Crocs 5-7-37.
So here's everything you need to know about the Great Air Race in 30 seconds or less. 100 years ago, there was a race from London to Darwin by aeroplane. And mates, this was only 20 years after the first aeroplane flew just 37 metres. The winning plane, a Vickers Vimy, was flown by Australian brothers Ross and Keith Smith and their mechanics Wally Shires and Jim Bennett. This was the birth of international air travel, and they landed in Parap. There's a park there now. Some people reckon their flight was almost as significant as the Apollo missions 50 years later. Some of the places they landed had never even seen an aeroplane before. This year, a guy called Michael Smith, who isn't related to the other Smiths, is retracing the exact flight 100 years on. The Great Air Race. What a great territory story. Yeah, I know, it was longer than 30 seconds. There's just too much to fit in.
We're here for when the heavens open and the winds howl. We're here for when the water just won't stop. We're here for the wet, and we're here for the dry. We're here because we know there's nowhere else you'd rather be.
And there's nowhere else we'd rather be either.
TIO Home Insurance. We're for Territorians.
So we can feel forever, yeah, feel together, real together. No one can stop. No one can stop. Nothing can ever bring me down.
Mother Nature can be frighteningly predictable in the Territory this time of year. Heavy rains and damaging winds can cause significant problems and disruption, particularly if you're unprepared, while downed power lines and flash flooding can be lethal. To ensure you're ready, visit powerwater.com.au/safety or text SAFETY to 0428 323 991 for more information. Because staying safe and ready around Mother Nature should be second nature.
CFS Schoolwear is the perfect choice for quality custom-made school uniforms. Ideal clothing for all school-related activities, whether it's 50 or 500 students, we have what you need. Contact the Cricket and Football Shop NT for your free CFS Schoolwear quote today.
Let's see. Roma, Verona?
Perhaps Barcelona.
Make your dream holiday a reality. Book your next getaway at Flight Centre with interest-free holidays and flexible repayment options.
Best in the air.
And everywhere.
Flight Centre.
Intersport, new concept store now open in Casuarina Square. Come in and check out a world-class shopping experience.
Dedicated sports zones.
Now stocking only the biggest brands in tennis, cricket, fitness from treadmills to benches, boxing, swimming, darts, pool and table tennis. For awesome service and advice, still locally owned and operated, the all-new Intersport concept store.
Now open at Casuarina Square.
You are one of almost 140,000 people living in an area at risk of being affected by a cyclone this wet season. In your cyclone kit, you will need a battery-operated radio and torch with spare batteries, enough food and at least 10 litres of water per person to sustain you and your family for 72 hours or more. Remember, all important documentation such as passports, photos and insurance policies should be kept in a safe and waterproof place. Be prepared this wet season. Brought to you by TIO.
Welcome back to TIO Stadium, where it's three-quarter time. Southern Districts 5-7-37, trailing Nightcliff 11-5-71. Matt Hepworth, Andrew Hodges and Rob Cross in the commentary box. And, well, gentlemen, the Nightcliff of old that we've known, of course, the premiers. In fact, these two teams faced each other in the grand final last year. Nightcliff are, well, they are just dominating again.
Yeah, they've been pretty impressive since quarter time. We're just talking about it off air then, that their ability to back each other up at a contest. There'll be a contest, it might be 2-on-2, two Districts players, two Nightcliff players, but Nightcliff ability to turn that into 4-on-2 and get support around the contest has been really impressive, and everyone knows what their role is in the team. We went through the list just then, Rob Cross, and we couldn't really see any passengers. If you went through the Southern Districts list, there's quite a few passengers and some senior players. They've had some outstanding contributions from Rory O'Brien, and Barlow's tried really hard, and McLaughlin, but Nightcliff just consistent right across the board, aren't they?
Well, Damien Williams was named their best player when they lost by 8 points earlier in the season, back in round one in this grand final rematch, and he's been terribly disappointing. He's had a really good season for Southern Districts, but he's not had a good night at all tonight. Barlow's missing as well, so as you say, the senior players are the ones that really haven't put their hand up. Josiah Ferrar started well, but he's dropped out of it also.
Yeah, probably a lot of credit to Nightcliff because they have forced those situations, that poor form. Their ability to get back and support each other has made it really tough for those forwards. But the District's forwards, I reckon Coach Shannon Rusker would have had some stern words with them because their pressure and their ability to chase was almost non-existent, which was interesting. And this centre bounce with no Seb Gilhouse in the middle, guys.
He's down at full forward, just having a laugh with Kane Riley in the goal square. Maybe he's talking about who might get the best man on the first side.
One of the best conversations. I'd love to be a fly on the wall, those two talking to each other.
Riley Owen Skender does the ruck work in Gilhouse's absence. And he goes at ground level as well. Some good aggression. Surely they'll be fired up early, at least in this last quarter. Owen Skender taps it forward. Only as far as Brain, though. He gets crunched in a tackle when he didn't have the footy. Williams was there. Now Michael Bowden. Well smothered by Brain. Comes to Eilert. Some neat stepping there from Paris. Garlett wants the ball, gets a quick kick away. Straight down the throat there of Bowles. And Bowles kick to Miles, who marks in front of Riley Owen Skender. Miles for Nightcliff. Kicks to left half forward. And he's got to play so much time, Coco Nick. He could drop the mark and run to 50. His kick isn't great. He could have run on and had a shot at himself in the end, possibly. Came to Sean Wilson. Quick snap on goal is across the face. And Wilson kicked one earlier in the game. Doesn't bring up his second. First score of the final quarter to Nightcliff. 11-6 plays 5-7.
You know your side's going well when you've got your most experienced player on hands and knees fighting for the full ball, Rob. Cameron Knight in the middle of that last contest, outstanding.
Barlow takes the mark from the kick in. Sends it out to Schofield. Oh, did well. Slipping over horribly there was Ogden. Schofield will try and mop it up, but Pickett came in and grabbed the footy. Clever sidestep from Bowles, and then a wonderful kick to the vacant man at half forward in Brewer. Brewer runs on quickly and bombs it long. Best position, Butcher gets rid of his man. Butcher runs onto the footy. Quick snap. It was Holman he got rid of. Oh, wonderful kick by Butcher. Has he squeezed it through the big man, or did Melville get a toe on it? One of them has. And I thought Butcher's snap was headed towards goal, but right on the goal line, I think his teammate Melvin might have got a boot to it. And the first goal of the last quarter, the Crocs needed it. They didn't get it. Nightcliff's margin is now 41 points.
Comedy of errors here on the centre wing for Southern District. It's been the story of their last two quarters, but Trent Melville on the line, as any good forward would do, his probably excuse right now to his teammate would be, look, I had to make sure of it to put it through, but I'm pretty sure, like you said, Robbie done a great job here, Butcher, to put this through. Was it going through? Potentially, maybe not. Melville made sure that they've started this last quarter exactly how they finished the last quarter.
6 goals to 1 since half time. Miles won the tap. Sean Wilson pushes it out through the legs to Coco Nicky, up to centre half forward. Winter Irving comes to Wills. He gets around Josiah Farrar and thumps it inside, attacking 50. Out comes Melville. Holman does well to thump it away. Bricknell running towards the footy with Ogden for company. Bricknell will try and keep it in. No, he won't. Happy to see it out of bounds where the arc of 50 meets the boundary line.
Holman's been pretty good for the Crocs boys. He's tried hard all night. He's killed the footy when he had to, and he's been under a lot of pressure all night. So he's been one district player that can probably hold his head high so far.
Plays in Victoria for Kai Abram. Had a pretty good season for the Crocs. Owen Skender taps it forward away from Winter Irving, and the two hyphens scored the ball to the boundary line.
You can see what Southern Districts have tried to do at this start of the quarter. Obviously Seb Gilhouse has been really dominant in the middle of the ground, but they just haven't had a marking forward. So if they've tried something different, go a bit mobile in the midfield, put Seb Gilhouse forward. It's not about moving, I don't mind it, but they need to get more ball inside 50 to give him a chance.
Winter Irving won the tap, but straight down the throat of Damien Williams. Kicks to no one, running onto the footy. Jaden Pickett shrugged the would-be tackle of Schwartz. Handball's too hot for Bowles, who might have put a leg out. O'Brien comes up with the footy. Back to Schwartz, now to Barlow. Barlow gliding down the outer wing, hooks the kick round in the Davin Hall direction. Went out okay. Had a player coming the other way, Jonathan Paris, to Masters, though, of Nightcliff across half-back. And as far as O'Brien again, his quick kick is to Schwartz, and he drops the easiest of marks at half forward. Had time to gather, kicks in the Gilhouse direction, got rid of Riley and then dropped the mark and then goes to ground. Riley stays on his feet, pushes Garland off the footy, then can't quite gather it. Lining up soccer style was Wilson, gained 35 metres down the Morris Rioli grandstand side. Nicky battling there with McAdam, comes to Josiah Farrar, spins out of would-be trouble, kicks long towards full forward and finds Will Farrar on his chest, 20 metres out directly in front.
Well done there, McAdam. Just protected the space, protected the ball, put the ball into Josiah Farrar's space, and Josiah Farrar, as any good brother does, just laced out his brother in that forward line.
It was a clever little passage of play, and we haven't seen a lot of that from Southern Districts tonight.
Will Ferrar, the skipper, gets his second goal of the night and brings the margin back to 35 points. 5 minutes gone, final quarter. Not completely beyond the realms of possibility. The way the Tigers are playing, it's going to be tricky. 12-6 plays 5-7.
I reckon you're right, Rob. If it's a big margin, but if anything, if District's going to do it, they need to take the game on a little bit, take some risks, move the ball really quickly. It's either go for it, take some risk and risk opening the game up even further, or it might come off for them. If they do get it forward in one-on-one situations, they're dangerous enough, but they've just broken down across half forward. They just haven't had enough class around there. Obviously, O'Brien and Barlow have been everywhere trying to do what they do, and Josiah Farah, but they just need more mates around them.
It's a pretty talent-landed forward line, isn't it? The two Farahs are down there, Garlett's down there, Davin Hall's down there, but it's Nightcliff going forward again through Zach Brain into the pocket. Butcher up against Holman. Holman did well just to hold front spot. Butcher calling for a free kick. He's not going to get it. Boundary throw in left forward pocket.
Who's had the better of that contest?
Line ball, I reckon. It's almost
been a good one.
You'd almost go in Holman's favour, given the amount of ball that's come down.
It's been a very good contest.
Butcher got kick 1-1 for the night. So boundary throw in left forward pocket. Margin is 35 points in favour of Nightcliff. Holman comes up with it. Williams has been moved onto the wing. He's at right half back. Shrugs the tackle of Zach Brain. Has a bounce. Gets a shepherd, which is pretty helpful from O'Brien. Has another bounce. Wants someone to come towards him. Kicks. It allows Farah to run onto it. Inside attacking 50. He's got some pace, but couldn't quite tow the ball along any further. And Masters comes up with it and finds the chest of Arnold at left half back. Out to the wing and Bowles, who's had a wonderful game. Big left foot thump again. In the Brain direction, flies up against Williams, who dropped back on him. Then tried to spin out of the tackle. Marley McGregor does beautifully. Squeezes it back to Sean Wilson, and they escape again, the Tigers. Kicks it long towards full forward. Bricknell in pretty good position. Butcher there as well. So's Michael Bowden, though, for the Crocs. Coming at him is Holt Fitz. Holt Fitz still in the contest. Holt Fitz goes off the ground. Holt Fitz, as he kicked a wonderful goal. He set up Melville again. Oh, brilliant by Holt Fitz. No, touched on the line, says the umpire. Melville can't believe it. But he was lurking once more right on the goal line for his second goal of the term. It's a rush behind. How good was Holt Fitz? Awkward kick in. Has created issues here for the Crocs again. Well done by Brewer to force some pressure. Came to Ogden. Quick kick, only as far as Eilert. Throws on the boot quickly, and he misses across the face. Chances go begging at both ends. Nightcliff 12-8, District 6-7. 7.5 minutes gone, final quarter.
While that was all happening, Rob, they had a replay on screen of that soccer from Melville on the line. I'm pretty sure that was a goal.
Yeah.
It won't affect the result.
No, that's true.
Ogden's kick in. Wanting Owen Skender. Marley McGregor did well for the Tigers.
Isn't he impressive?
Good.
He's nothing pretty. He just bashes and crashes and just gets the job done. He's a very talented young player. He's only 17 years of age. Played some NAB League football for Thunder this season earlier on.
Very athletic, isn't he? Good size.
Handy hockey player as well.
Joshua, as far as Coco Nicky. Schofield's tried hard all night for the Crocs. Owen Skender loops the handball in the O'Brien direction. There's McGregor again. Good tackling. Is he being pinged for holding the ball? It was Kidney. He has. Kidney wins the free kick for O'Brien, bring the ball back underneath him. So Kidney from 55 metres. Wobbly looking kick. Ogden must have been touched. Play on the call. Wilson, now Schwartz for the Crocs. Back to Barlow. Oh, look out, he's in all sorts of trouble. McGregor came one way, and in the end, the lucky handball over the top bounces into the goalpost for a behind.
Lucky there, Barlow. He was under as much pressure as what Bo Schwartz was. Bo Schwartz just didn't want the hot potato and said, your problem, you have it.
38-point lead to Nightcliff, I should say. 12-9-81. The Crocs are 6-7-43 up towards the wing. Arnold's had a terrific game. Got to spin his way at a couple of tackles. Joshua somehow got it out to Ogden on the wing with a moment's space, but just a moment because Masters came hard. Brewer thrown out there by Arnold to Masters, to Coco Nicky. Ball's not going to bounce kindly, and he's going to run straight into a tackle of Pembleton, who barrels him into the TIO Stadium turf. no chance of getting rid of it. Ball up.
Unfortunate for Districts that Ogden fumbled that ball, but if he hadn't, he would have run about 100 metres because no Districts forward was in that space.
Clever little toe poke from Holt Fitz to Melville. By hand to Wills. Davin Hall, though, comes up with a footy. The bounce didn't favour him and he slips over. Wills now with the ball. Barlow strong, but the ball didn't sit. Taken by Kidney, back to Barlow. Ball bobbling around. Barlow now has a chance. He sends it out towards McAdam. He's 55 metres out, pokes the kick in the Will Ferrar direction. He's going to line up for his second of the quarter. 10 minutes gone last quarter. Kicks this, the margin's 32 points. Too far, Hodgie?
No, he's a good chance from here, obviously.
No, I'm talking about the margin.
Way too far. Way too far, sorry.
Should have sent Farah too further than that.
No, they're
trying to lift the hopes of the Croc fans out there.
Yeah, well, there's still plenty of time. If they change lanes like they did just then, they're definitely a chance. They've got to take some risks though, and they need to kick this goal.
Farah for his third goal of the night. Wonderful kick. I thought he got pretty close to the man on the mark, and in the end only from 1 or 2 paces. Buried it through from about 35. So he joins Michael Hagan as the leading goal kicker in the match with 3. 7-7-49 the Crocs. Nightcliff 12-9-81.
It's an interesting margin. They can close the gap, but obviously Coach Shannon Rusk, all he wants to see at this stage is probably a lift in intensity and effort. Probably a good character building opportunity. You know, so close to Christmas. Probably there's a couple of games left. If they can fight this one out, obviously, you know, you can take some positives out of that for next week, and obviously finish off 2019 before the Christmas break on a bit of a positive, hopefully next week for them.
Well, I imagine with a margin like this, as a coach, you'd say to your players, go out and win the quarter, and so far that's what Southern Districts are doing.
Gilhouse back in the ruck. McGregor competes strongly. Gilhouse comes up with the ball, then has a couple of Tigers swarming on him, and it'll be a ball up again. Gilhouse gets rid of McGregor this time. Wants McAdam. Back to Gilhouse. Throws the ball onto his boot. Only as far as Bowles, not the required distance. Bowles wants the trusty left boot. Oh, McAdam gets a horrible bounce. Running off the footy, Wilson. That's a good collision. Wilson goes hard into McAdam. McAdam goes down, Wilson stays up. Bricknell tried to tow the ball along Josiah Farah. McAdam again goes hard at it. Coco Nicky comes at him, squeezes out, comes to Schofield, shrugs a tackle, shrugs another. Here come the Crocs again. Lovely ball into Garlett. Oh, he's dropped the mark, Jeff Garlett. And there's a door opening here for the Nightcliff Tigers maybe. Schwartz went without the footy. Still fighting hard with Schofield. And going in there and bumped heavily was Brett Johnson. Brewer comes up with it. He's taken down in a strong tackle. Schofield's been tremendous in the space of about 15 seconds. A Crocs player is down in midfield. And Schwartz comes up with a footy and sends the Crocs inside attacking 50 or close to. Bowles up against O'Brien. Who's going to win this battle? Oh, Bowles does well. Beautiful scoop up by Masters sliding by. And Lee Masters kicks the ball up towards right half forward. He wants Winter Irving. He's stretched. Got knocked off the footy by Gilhouse. Neat sidestep by Schwartz. One way then the other. Taken off the footy by Coco Nicky. Winter Irving, excellent. Comes to Melville, who's been busy. Comes to Holt Fitz, the danger man. Time for a bounce. Runs to 30. Handball over the top. Big chance here for the Tigers in the goal square and banged through by Eilert. For a moment there was a chance of a goal to the Crocs at half forward, but in the blink of an eye, a wonderful team footy. Melville involved again, and Nightcliff have their 13th. 13-9-87, the margin back to 38. That's all she wrote, I reckon. The District 7-7-49.
Hit the nail right on the head there, Rob. An absolute team goal. Some individual brilliance, but just they love to run and share, don't they, Nightcliff? Like, Holt Fitz could have definitely pulled the trigger on this one, kicked the goal, but he's gone to the veteran over the top and Cameron Eilert. But what's been most impressive for me tonight is their support of their defenders. Bowles, Masters, Peris, Kickett, you know, Butterick, all that back six. They're willing to go off their man and help out their teammate. It's probably been the difference in the game. They've been outstanding down back.
What gets me in the second half in particular is how good Melville's been as a link player around half forward and through the middle. He's the leading competition goal scorer last year with 55. I think he's got 18 or so already this year, but he's just playing that team game. I know he's tried a couple of sneaky ones on the goal line, but playing up across half forward then helps set that goal up.
I know back home at his club in Adelaide, he was out of the goal square type forward, so it's been good to see him up the ground. He's very agile for a big guy.
Garlett takes that mark on the second attempt.
Is that his first mark of the night?
I reckon. Well played by O'Brien. Barlow drops the chest mark. Slippery ball, tough chance. Comes off his feet. as Paris wanted an out of bounds in the full, which would have been pretty unlucky. But I think it was Garland that dropped that mark at centre half forward that then led to that passage of play that ended up with the Nightcliff goal.
Mark Noonan's been outstanding. He's 260th well, Rob.
Hasn't missed 260 Ripper games.
He's looking super fit, his knees.
Make 500, I reckon. Oof. Arnold, high kick, waiting under it. Ogden takes a strong mark. Played up to the umpire. Butcher came in late, but there's no 50 in it. So Ogden will send the Crocs back towards centre half forward. They trail by 38 points, straight down the throat of Cameron Island, who's kicked the most recent Nightcliff goal. On the way they go again. Bricknell will slide past Arnold, and Bricknell can have a bounce. He can have two. He can run right in and kick a goal himself if he likes. It doesn't come back to him. Isaac Wyatt comes at him, kicks towards full forward, and gets decked. And it's going to be a free kick back where the kick was taken, or back in the goal square? No, it's going to be right down in the top of the goal square. A kick to Nightcliff for yet another goal. Looks like Melville might be the recipient. And there's another wrestle on here. Isaac Wyatt didn't like the treatment. And he's still not happy. Is it Brain at the bottom of that pack? Big Winter Irving just comes in and just throws him out of the contest and says, come on, let's get onto the footy. Meanwhile, Trent Melville from the goal square will pop through another goal for Nightcliff. This will be Melville's second. As the push and shove continues, a little bit of discipline is required here for the Crocs. They've been belted on the park, and it would be good to see them finish off the game with a little bit of spirit in terms of their play, not their aggro. 14-9-93, Nightcliff 7-7-49, the Crocs.
We talked about their ability to play good team footy. Poor kick from Ogden here across goal. Probably the most dangerous spot to kick it in the ground, because it just opened up the ground here for this. But while this was happening, Melville didn't actually want the footy. He was calling Bricknell to keep running and have a shot. We talked about their team playing unselfishness. Any forward call hit up for that, but he actually called Bricknell in, but Bricknell fumbled, and obviously Isaac Wyatt came in and got him high, and undisciplined play, and Districts get the 50 and make it a certain goal.
So on the bench there, the dreadlocked one is Danny Butcher, who will be a handy returning player later in the season, we imagine, just to strengthen this Tigers side even more. Gilhouse in ruck up against Jonathan Miles. Eilert, desperate, playing his whatever number game it is like his first. What a wonderful player he is. Last man up from the bottom of the pack. Flips it back to umpire Pandra, I think it is. Tosses it up. Gilhouse, brute strength, slaps it backhanded into the head of Miles. Whistle goes, and it's going to be a free kick at half forward to guess who? Nightcliff. And it's going to go to Matthew Bricknell. Bricknell inside the centre square. 17 and a half minutes gone into the final quarter. In the Winter Irving direction. Ball spoiled away. Johnson taken down in a tackle. Arnold by hand to Brain to Eilert. Soccering off the ground there is O'Brien, close to the boundary line, out of bounds it goes. The margin is 44 points, 14-9 to 7-7. Nightcliff lead the Crocs.
That Wyatt hasn't been too happy in the last couple of minutes. He's still trying to push around with Winter Irving. I think Winter Irving's about 4 weight classes above him. Rob?
Yeah, not a wise choice, I wouldn't have thought. No. Pemberton comes in and takes the mark for the Crocs. All credit to him, but what I've seen of Winter Irving, he's a fearsome customer. Pemberton. As the kick smothered into the man on the mark. Josiah Farrar has faded out of the game a bit as it's gone on. He started brilliantly. Schwartz, who's been solid the whole game, kicks down the wing. A great mark to Butterick. Joel Butterick. Switch play back towards the back pocket and defensive 50. Perris points to the spot on the ground where the mark was taken. Worried McLaughlin was encroaching. So Jonathan Perris is now looking to switch to Masters. So they've gone from near the wing to the left back pocket at the airport end. Oh, good smother by Owen Skender. And he charges after the footy. This might open the door. Skender. McLaughlin went past without laying the shepherd. O'Brien's got a couple of Tigers around him. He won't be able to beat them. Masters with a long handball to Arnold. Can he get it off in time? He does to Bowles. On his favoured left foot. Waited, and then found the chest of Perris 20 metres away.
Nightcliff lucky to get out of that there.
There's some good sides in the competition at the moment, guys, but is anyone at the level that Nightcliff have sort of shown tonight? They're they're very impressive with some plays to come back. I think the highlight for me is their back six. They've been outstanding, and they've got such a good midfield. And Philo not playing tonight, Danny Butcher, as you pointed out. Plenty of talent to come back into this side. It's going to be a hard side to beat.
Another gear or two, you sense, haven't they?
They do.
Turned it on when they've needed to, particularly in that third quarter to break the game open. They're just holding the Crocs now. There's Barlow. He's tried hard, but he's poorer games in the red, white and black. Over the back of the pack. Running onto it there was Masters. Cleverly from Ferrar. Tapped it to Butterick. And again, that back six combining beautifully, Hodgie. How easy was that? And out towards Jaden Pickett. Wonderful combination. The kick comes up towards half forward. Riley taking the opportunity to go up towards half forward, it seems. Wilson waits for the ball to come out. Umpire says, I'll have it on centre wing.
Southern Districts haven't been as good tonight as you would have expected. You would have thought they could have put it up to Nightcliff a little bit more. Of course, they have been done by St Mary's just once this season. Scared by Tiwi Bombers last week. So there are teams who can put it up to Nightcliff, and you would have thought Southern Districts would have done a lot better tonight.
I think they'll get a fair bit out of this, though, tonight. Obviously, it's the right time of year to have a performance like this. Obviously, different season after Christmas, Rob.
Eilert, Schwartz, Melville. Barges through a couple, at least tried to. Gilhouse, Kokoniki was clever, only as far as Michael Joshua for the Crocs. His long kick up towards half forward. Masters stands in the way. Isaac White was good, but just a leg tackle in the end of the trip. But he showed some intensity at least to Nicky with that shoulder heavily strapped. Well done by Joshua. Out to McLaughlin. McLaughlin flares it out to the grandstand wing into the path of O'Brien. He's got Kidney for company. Sockers it off the ground. Kidney's got the superior pace. In fact, it's Joel Butterick, I should say. Well done by Butterick. Strong tackle from O'Brien.
Good tackle.
And Butterick was happy just to flop to the left instead of flop to the right and see it out of bounds.
They just get back and support each other so well. Butterick came off his probably 30 metres off his man to pick up O'Brien in that contest. Didn't have to do it, but he did. He helped out his teammate that was struggling through the midfield.
Gilhouse and Miles. Gilhouse got rid of Miles again. Here's O'Brien. Can he run onto the footy? Oh, coming in high there. He slipped to ground. As he was slipping down, he was taken high. I reckon if he'd stood up, it would have been a fair tackle. So, obviously, probably a little bit unlucky there, Jaden Pickett, but O'Brien won't complain, and he probably deserves it. He's tried hard. He's going to line up for his second goal of the night, and we'll get 50 metres. There's some arguing going on. Being ushered towards the top of the goal square by the 260 gamer in Mark Noonan. He'll break the record next week when he umpires 261 Premier League games. O'Brien for his second, and to make the margin 38 points. Pops it through. So Nightcliff has had their margin reduced by 6 points. 14-9 plays 8-7 at the 22.5-minute mark of the last quarter.
O'Brien being their best player by a country mile, boys. He's probably followed by Schofield and Holman down back. I think those guys, and Barlow's tried hard all night.
Yeah, I was thinking
Gilhouse has had moments, but just too many passengers throughout the game.
Yeah, I think those 5 players that you named have really... we've barely heard a call from any other player from Southern Districts. And, yeah, I thought when Barlow's been on, he's been really impressive. And he's been a little bit unlucky at times as well. Hasn't had the right bounce or has slipped. So, Barlow has been really good, just a little bit unlucky at times.
Miles, Owen Skender. Neither ruckman really got proper purchase to it. Schwartz, his kick was smothered. McLaughlin ran through without the footy. Schwartz has another go. He's still trying hard. Stripped of the ball by Wills. Joshua tried the little toe poke. Now by hand tries to tap it forward. Here's Barlow, but Brewer sockers it out of his grasp and goes again. Kicks it into the path of Sean Wilson. Wilson out towards the boundary line. Johnson coming at him hard, but Wilson steps around him and then kicks the ball in towards full forward. Out on the lead comes Winter Irving. Can't gather the half volley. Coming the other way there was Holman. Gave to Michael Bowden. He gave it to Duffy. Duffy's about to be tackled. Josiah Farrer comes in. Winter Irving comes in over the top and lays a strong tackle. And it's going to be a ball up. Right half forward, with Nightcliff kicking to the Michael Long centre end. Closing in on full time here. Round 10 action. Nightcliff will extend their lead at the top of the table. There it is, the final siren. The Tigers, the reigning premiers, do it again in style tonight. 14-9-93 to Southern Districts 8-7-55. A 38-point lead, Hodgie. Pretty impressive.
Very, very impressive. Yeah, they're a very good side. They're going to be hard to beat this year with plenty of talent to come back in, but Not one passenger. You look right through their list, everyone contributed tonight. On the flip side, District's probably a little bit disappointing. You know, you're only as good as your bottom 5 or 6 players, and like I said, Nightcliff had full contributors throughout the side, and District's probably there 5 or 6 at the bottom, probably didn't contribute enough.
Yeah, it took a quarter for Nightcliff to really switch on, but when they do, it's really great footy to watch. You touched on it before, Hodgie, that every man knows his role, and particularly when they're under pressure in their back 50, though, they manage, their defenders find a way to dig it out, and then from there, each man knows his role, they know who they've got to go to, and it's just brilliant to watch, and this is the reason they were last year's premiers. And I mean, you know, Southern Districts, they did verse them in the grand final, but they were a world away from what they were in last year's grand final tonight. So there it is. That is full time here at TIO Stadium. Nightcliff's reign continues 14-9, 93, defeating Southern Districts 8-7-55.
So here's everything you need to know about the Great Air Race in 30 seconds or less. 100 years ago, there was a race from London to Darwin by aeroplane. And mates, this was only